Chapter 1992. Han Xiao yawned, then snapped his fingers in the direction of the house. The white tiger sauntered out of the house and walked to Han Xiao's side. "I'm leaving." Han Xiao waved at the three of them as he walked out of the house. Ning, she froze. Almighty, you're leaving? Didn't you say I could leave if no assassins dare to come? Han Xiao said with a, "Are you trying to screw me over again?" expression. Tang Lang nodded. Grandpa is right. Xiao Zhan is already a top tier. Even Xiao Zhan died here. Unless someone was crazy, they wouldn't take the job and come here to die. After spending so much time together, Ning, she felt a little lost when she suddenly had to part ways. "It's so late. Why don't you have supper before you leave?" Han Xiao turned back without hesitation. "Okay." Ning, she was speechless. Ning Shi's sorrow of parting instantly disappeared. Late at night. "Sweetheart, will you be okay?" Ning Shi laid on the bed, unable to fall asleep. "You have no confidence in me?" The man's deep voice rang above her head. Ning Shi pounced on him and gave him a kiss. "Of course." Lu Tingxiao kissed the top of her head. "Focus on your own things and take care of your body." What was left was his battlefield. After Han Xiao left, no more assassins came to Deer Town. Everything returned to normal, as if nothing had happened. Apart from that, a few days later, Deer Town gained an extremely adorable pure white tiger cub. As for the outside world, after the other party knew assassinations wouldn't work, they changed their direction. In a short period of time, the entire Asian economy and underground forces surged. Lu Tingxiao became unusually busy, and Ning Shi's career returned to its peak, like the sun in the sky. Wildy, time reversal, you at your most beautiful. On the big screen in the central square, with the largest flow of people in the capital, Ning Shi is lying in a cluster of flowers like the Garden of Eden. Her skin is so delicate without any makeup. The dreamy scene made passers-by stop in their tracks. Damn, Ning Shi's skin was so good. I heard she didn't put on any makeup when she shot the commercial. I've seen Ning Shi up close. She's even more exaggerated than in the commercial. The words time reversal are too apt. I can't believe they managed to get Ning Shi to be their spokesperson. I feel like Wildy is getting more and more pretentious. I've always been using bosses' families. Once I get my salary, I'm going to buy a set of Wildy to try. Wildy Company Building. You did a good job this time. In the video conference, the CEO of China praised him in a good mood. This time, not only did Wildy's products surpass SS in the Chinese market, but they also increased their sales in the United States. Parker looked at the sales figures for the latest quarter and listened to his boss's praises. He was beaming with joy. After being suppressed by the boss for so many years, he could finally wipe away his shame. It was a wise decision to replace Lu Xiaoro and choose Ning Shi. Who would have thought that Ning Shi's momentum would be so fierce after her comeback? She suppressed Han Zixuan to the point that she couldn't fight back, and instantly pulled up Wildy's status. One had to know that signing a rising artist was countless times more profitable than simply signing a popular artist. After Parker finished the video conference with the higher-ups, he immediately called Su Tao to get in touch with him and invited Ning Shi to Wildy's fashion dinner. Chapter 1993. Starlight Entertainment. Wang Haojun looked at the complicated data on the computer screen and felt a splitting headache. Flourishing Age Entertainment's market share was catching up with Starshine at an alarming rate, and its stock price had been rising. As for Han Zixuan, Starlight's side was powerless to reverse the situation. As soon as he acted in Under the Heavens, Ning Shi destroyed his show. Starry Night was directly slaughtered. The Hollywood blockbuster that he had painstakingly obtained became a foil for Ning Shi. Even the endorsement for SS skincare product advertisement was crushed by Ning Shi's endorsement of Wildy. Cheng Yibin, Lu Xiaoro, what the hell are you doing? If I remember correctly, wasn't Xiaoro supposed to be the spokesperson for Wildy? How did it become Ning Shi in the end? There were so many things to do in the company. It was impossible for him to keep an eye on everything. By the time he found out, it was already too late. Not only did she lose an A-list spokesperson, but she also caused Han Zixuan to be suppressed once again. Lu Xiaoro was furious, but she didn't dare to say anything. She could only bear it with a wronged expression. Cheng Yibin wiped the sweat off his forehead and said with a flattering expression, CEO Wang, you really can't blame me for this. Originally, we were going to sign the contract that day. Who knew that Su Tao and Ningxi would intercept us midway? I had no choice. I guess Su Tao is taking revenge on Xiao Rou for jumping ship. This is completely caused by their personal conflict. It really has nothing to do with me. Lu Xiaorou looked at her agent in disbelief. She was so angry that she almost burst into tears. This endorsement was agreed upon before I joined the company. Why did everything go well before I joined the company? Why did everything go wrong after I joined the company? How could this be my fault? Cheng Yibin's face immediately darkened. Xiaorou, what do you mean by this? Are you saying that I ruined your endorsement deal? Lu Xiaorou couldn't bear it anymore. She cried and scolded on the spot. Qin Shuang, who she had ridiculed in the past, was now promoted step by step. Cheng Yibin, don't go too far. You know very well how you treated me after I came to Starlight. Instead of fighting for resources for me, I only know how to drink with others all day. You wanted to sleep with an old man just for a stupid second-tier endorsement. What's wrong with sleeping with him? In this line of work, who didn't sleep with someone? Are you the only one who thinks highly of yourself? I asked you to sleep with me to fight for more resources for you. You all right? Both of you shut up. Look at this. After kicking out Cheng Yibin and Lu Xiaorou, who were quarreling endlessly, Wang Haojuan's headache worsened. Now he could only pin his hopes on Su Yan. In the evening, Su Yan finally arrived. Wang Haojuan quickly went to the door and welcomed him in. Mr. Su, you're here. Please take a seat. Su Yan nodded and sat down on the sofa. What happened? Wang Haojuan looked embarrassed. President Su, you must know the recent situation of our company. Ningxi's comeback has a greater impact on our company. I asked you to come here to discuss with you whether there is any solution. Su Yan's eyes flickered. Since you can't suppress it, why not extend an olive branch? Wang Haojuan was surprised. President Su, do you mean to poach Ningxi? Why not? Su Yan asked. Wang Haojuan looked troubled. Ahem, President Su, you know about the entanglement between Ningxi and us. Back then, Ningxi was forced to leave by Starlight. How could she be willing to come back now? Even if Ningxi is willing, I'm afraid it won't be easy to explain to Shui Luo. Chapter 1994. Don't worry about Shui Luo. I'll talk to Ningxi myself, Su Yan said, his voice slightly tense. Wang Haojuan's eyes lit up when he heard that. It would be great if Mr. Su could do it. As long as Ningxi is willing to come, we can promise to give her the best resources of the company, set up her own studio, and her agent can come with her. Even though Golden Era had been growing rapidly, they were still no match for Starlight. If Su Yan were to personally negotiate with them, their chances of winning were very high. The next day, Su Tao rushed into Liang Feixing's office furiously. Wang Haojuan, I'll fuck him. Liang Feixing raised an eyebrow. I didn't expect you to have such a heavy taste. I'm not joking. I just got the news that Wang Haojuan wants to poach my Ningxi. Oh, poach Ningxi. Liang Feixing heard this and revealed a rather subtle expression. Damn it. What should he do now? What if the queen was really poached away? Then I don't want to live either. Su Tao's expression was as if he would kill himself if Ningxi left. The corners of Liang Feixing's mouth twitched. Can you calm down? Do you think Ningxi is that kind of person? Of course not, Ningxi. It's mainly because Wang Haojuan has too many dirty tricks. So many of the seedlings that I've raised have been poached away one by one. Do you know that I'm already traumatized? Su Tao broke down. Liang Feixing said in a relaxed tone, Don't worry. It's impossible for Ningxi to be poached. Why are you so sure? Su Tao's eyes were filled with tears. This guy now regarded Ningxi as more important than his own life. In addition, he had been betrayed by his artists so many times before, so he must have been traumatized. Liang Feixing rolled his eyes speechlessly as he looked at that fellow's resentful expression as if he was afraid of being abandoned. Of course, Ningxi was not only an artist of Xianxia Entertainment, but also the owner of Xianxia Entertainment. Have you ever heard of someone poaching a lady boss away? Anyway, just trust me and focus on your work. Don't think too much, Liang Feixing said. Su Tao still had a look of resentment on his face. If Her Majesty abandons me, will you take responsibility? Yes, yes. If you're abandoned, I'll take responsibility for you. Okay? Get lost. I still have things to do. Liang Feixing spoke until his lips were about to break before he finally sent the noisy Su Tao away. At the Wildy fashion dinner, Ning, she was invited to attend. Halfway through, she was taking a breather in the small garden. She didn't expect to meet Su Yin, whom she hadn't seen for a long time. Su Yin hadn't looked for her since their last encounter at Imperial Capital University. This result was within Ning Shi's expectation. Su Yin was no match for Ning Shiluo. It was said that Su Yin was in charge of Starlight during this period of time, and the reason was that Ning Shiluo was not feeling well. She knew Ning Shiluo too well. Nothing could make her give up her power, unless the night was as cold as water. Ning, she was wearing a silver-white dress, and her ink-black hair was tied up in a loose bun at the back of her head. She sat on the swing with a glass of red wine in her hand. The scene in front of him was too beautiful to be real. Su Yan's heart beat wildly. Xiaoxi, as if worried that the person in front of him would avoid him again, he hurriedly said, Xiaoxi, I'm here for business. Business? Ning, she tilted her head slightly, and there was a hint of drunkenness in her misty eyes. She was obviously innocent, but as seductive as a fairy in the dark night. Chapter 1995. Su Yan felt his throat go dry. He took a deep breath to calm himself down and said, Xiaoxi, come to Starlight. Ning, she raised her eyebrows slightly when she heard Su Yan's words. She didn't expect that Su Yan was here to poach her. Su Yan's eyes were filled with gentleness. Xiaoxi, you've been through too much all these years. Although you're doing well now, no matter how much the Golden Era values you, in the Golden Era, are still bound by their interests. If you come to Starlight, at least I can take care of you. Or if you're tired from work and want to rest, you don't have to work so hard. Huh. Ning, she chuckled. President Su, are you saying that you want to take care of me? Su Yan's face changed, and he hurriedly said, Xiaoxi, that's not what I mean. I just want to take care of you. President Su, please take care of Ning Shiluo and her son. I won't bother you. The moment Ning Shi's voice fell, Su Yan's face suddenly turned as white as a sheet. You know, Su Yan looked at the girl in front of him eagerly and explained, Xiaoxi, I'm not lying to you. As soon as I got back, I asked my lawyer to draft the divorce agreement. I made an appointment with Shiluo that day to make it clear to her, but it was that night. Shiluo suddenly fainted and was sent to the hospital, and then found out that she was pregnant. Under those circumstances, I really couldn't talk to her. I know I've disappointed you again, Xiaoxi. Please wait for me. Give me a little more time, okay? After saying that, Su Yan nervously looked at the girl, only to find that the girl's eyes were slightly closed and her head was quietly leaning against the rope of the swing. She seemed to be asleep. This scene, Su Yan couldn't help but walk towards the girl as if he was bewitched. Just as his hand was about to touch the girl, someone suddenly came out from the side, blocked Su Yan's hand, and stood in front of Ning Shi. Jiang Mai's eyes were full of ice. President Su, you're a married man. I'm afraid this is not appropriate. The words married man made Su Yan's face darken. Xiaoxi is drunk. Please ask her assistant to come over and take care of her. Jiang Mai sneered. What does it have to do with you? With that, he glared at Ning Shi, who was sleeping soundly, and helped her up. Wretched girl, not even the slightest bit of vigilance. Ning Shi, who was pulled up, opened her eyes in a daze. Golden Retriever, didn't I tell you to drink less? Are you courting death by drinking so much wine? Jiang Mai roared. Ning Shi pinched her eyebrows. I only drank 1 cup. After the vegetative person woke up, her body had almost recovered. Of course, there were still some side effects. She found that her alcohol tolerance had decreased sharply, and she actually passed out after 1 glass. Jiang Mai quickly helped her out of the small garden and complained angrily. Do you know that Su Zaga almost took advantage of you just now? Thanks. Of course you have to thank me. You must have burned incense in your past life to have such a good ex-boyfriend like me. If you compare me to those scum again, I won't let you off. Of course not. You are my eldest nephew. Say it again. What am I to you? Do you think I won't leave you here? Brother. Brother, don't tell my sweetheart about what happened today. You only know your sweetheart. Chapter 1996. These days, Ningxi found that there seemed to be something wrong with Su Tao. He had been circling around her, asking about her well-being, serving tea and pouring water. Although Su Tao had always been very good to her before, these days he was obviously looking for trouble, and several times he looked like he wanted to say something but stopped. Ningxi had no choice but to ask him directly, "Brother Tao, what's wrong with you? If you have something to say, just say it." Su Tao dawdled for a long time before he opened his mouth with a sad face. "Queen, you won't abandon me, right? Why do you say that?" Ningxi was puzzled. "It's that bastard Wang Haojuan. He's actually a toad, lusting after a swan's flesh, and wants to dig out your starlight." Su Tao was furious. Ningxi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "You said that he wants to eat swan meat. Why would I go to him? But I still don't feel safe." At this time, Liang Feixing pushed the door and came in, grabbed Su Tao's collar and pulled him aside. "You're so old. Why are you acting like a spoiled child? I have goosebumps. Didn't I tell you not to bother Ningxi? Go to work." After that, he turned to Ningxi and said, "Ningxi, don't bother with this guy. His period is coming, and his mood is abnormal." Ningxi said helplessly, "Brother Tao, rest assured, Su Yin did look for me last night, but I have already refused." Fuck, that bastard is really shameless. He even brought up Su Yin. Su Tao was half dead with anger. However, hearing that Ningxi had already refused, the big stone in Su Tao's heart finally fell down, and happily wagged his tail and began to work. "Queen, I will pick you up to attend the anniversary celebration of the Imperial Capital TV station. I don't know when my afternoon work will end. Anyway, my program is at the end, so it doesn't matter. Brother Tao, you take Qin Shuang to prepare first, and after I finish here, you can go directly." Ningxi said. "Okay." Su Tao was completely resurrected at this moment. The goddess is too understanding, isn't she? At night, Su Tao rushed to the station with Qin Shuang. After arriving at the place, the two entered the designated dressing room. As soon as he entered, he found that there was already someone inside. Only then did Su Tao realize that he had entered the wrong room. Inside the room, Yin Yu had brought along her agent, 2 assistants, a makeup artist, a stylist, and 2 bodyguards. A large group of people were helping Yin Yu with her makeup. Ever since she had jumped to Starlight, Yin Yu had been paying extra attention to the way she looked when she went out. She was afraid that others would not know how well she had been doing after jumping to another company. One of Yin Yu's assistant with a sharp chin saw that there were outsiders coming in, and on the spot scolded Su Tao and Qin Shuang. "Who allowed you to come in casually? This is Yu's exclusive dressing room." After Su Tao learned that he had gone the wrong way, he was going to leave with Qin Shuang. At this moment, enemies are on a narrow road. Looking at the little assistant with a sharp chin, he suddenly sneered, "Oh, exclusive dressing room? Your name is written on it?" The little assistant looked at Su Tao, who was opposite him, and suddenly his face was full of ridicule. "Su Tao, you were a gold medal agent in the past. Although you fell so low that you almost slept on the street, you can't really be like a scoundrel, right?" The little assistant who spoke was the one who slapped Su Tao in the bar and humiliated him on the spot. Later, this matter was exposed by various entertainment newspapers, making Su Tao ridiculed by everyone in the industry. The former gold medal agent was actually slapped in the face by a little assistant in public. Chapter 1997. Afterwards, it was also because of this matter that she was now very valued by Yin Yu. Obviously, Yin Yu was very satisfied with what she had done at that time. Therefore, now that there was such a good opportunity to perform, this little assistant naturally would not miss it. I'm afraid that the one who is really down to sleep on the street is someone else, right? Su Tao deliberately glanced in Yin Yu's direction and faintly said. Hearing this, Yin Yu, who was sitting in front of the dressing table, suddenly stiffened and her face changed. Su Tao was obviously mocking her. A year ago, when she was at her most destitute, she really slept on the street. Later, she was picked up by Su Tao and became a superstar in Xianxia. The little assistant also heard about Yin Yuyu's past and knew that Yin Yuyu must be very unhappy now. She immediately rushed to the front of the two. I said that this is Yuyu's exclusive dressing room. Can't the dog understand human words? At this time, the staff of the TV station outside heard the movement inside and hurried over. "Excuse me, what happened?" A middle-aged man with a beard and a young female staff came in. The little assistant with a sharp chin saw the people coming and immediately complained. "Director Chun, this is Yuyu's exclusive dressing room. Every time Yuyu comes, she uses this room alone. The others are too small and can't be squeezed at all. However, these two people are like scoundrels. They insist on staying here and not leaving. They want to rob our Yuyu's dressing room." The director looked at Yin Yuyu, who was wearing a gorgeous dress and makeup, and then looked at Qin Shuang and Su Tao. He suddenly had a headache. In their line of work, they generally picked up the soft persimmon to pinch, and Yin Yuyu was famous in the circle for not being easy to deal with. On the other hand, although Qin Shuang became popular overnight and the limelight was fierce, her position was still completely incomparable to Yin Yuyu. They were not in the same rank at all. It was really unnecessary to offend Yin Yuyu for Qin Shuang. After a short period of deliberation, the director had already thought about it. He lightly coughed and turned to Su Tao and Qin Shuang. "This dressing room is indeed Miss Yin's exclusive dressing room. Why don't the two of you follow me to another place?" The little assistant with a sharp chin heard that Director Chun was still standing on their side in the end, and suddenly his face was full of pride. "Did you hear that?" Qin Shuang didn't want to trouble Su Tao, so she whispered to Su Tao, "Brother Tao, forget it. Let's go somewhere else." Su Tao did not speak, but his face was unusually gloomy. Seeing that the two of them were not moving, the assistant said impatiently, "Our Yuyu's program is about to start. Can you afford to be late?" Originally, it wasn't a big deal, but this little assistant just had to make a fuss about it. It was clear that she was deliberately embarrassing them. Chen looked at the time and realized that they were running out of time, so he couldn't care less. He said in a slightly tough tone, "Please leave, both of you. Please don't disturb the other artistes who are preparing to go on stage." The little assistant gave the two bodyguards a look and then mocked in a shrill voice, "Get out of here. You brought along a minor character who became famous overnight, yet you still have the nerve to act like a big shot and fight with our Yuyu for the dressing room. Where did you get the face to do that?" As they spoke, the two bodyguards had already walked towards them, wanting to forcefully chase them away. At this time, behind Su Tao and Qin Shuang, a faint voice came from the door. "So, I am an 18. Line small cameo." Chapter 1998. The moment this familiar voice sounded, not only the bodyguard subconsciously paused, but also the little assistant, Yin Yuyu, Chun, and the staff, all looked in the direction of the door. Then everyone saw that at this moment, it seemed that a notice had just come down, and Ning Shi, wearing an evening dress, stood at the door. Seeing the person, the sharp-chinned little assistant's originally unscrupulous face suddenly flashed a trace of panic, and she straightened her neck and said, "I'm talking about Qin Shuang, not you. Teacher Ning." "What?" Ning Shi didn't look at the sharp-chinned little assistant, but looked at Qin Shuang, who was closest to her, and asked. Qin Shuang hurriedly whispered, "Brother Shi, it's nothing, it's just that we went to the wrong room. This side, let us leave." The assistant felt that it was reasonable. Seeing this, she immediately interrupted, "What do you mean by going the wrong way? You make it sound so nice. These two people clearly came to fight for the dressing room on purpose. Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? It's only been a few days, and you already don't know who you are?" Listening to the words of the little assistant, Ning Shi's face did not have any expression, but step by step, she walked in the direction of Yin Yuyu. At this moment, because Yin Yuyu saw Ning Shi appear, she subconsciously stood up. Ning Shi stretched out her hand lazily, directly pulled the chair behind Yin Yuyu to her, and slowly sat down. A pair of long legs wrapped in a high-slit dress slowly crossed, elbows on the back of the chair, tilted her head, glanced at everyone in the room, and said unhurriedly, "This dressing room, I want it." The moment Ning Shi's voice fell, Yin Yu's face suddenly darkened, and her eyes stared at her coldly. The sharp-chinned little assistant immediately said, "Teacher Ning, this is our Yu's dressing room." Ning Shi slightly raised her eyebrows. "Oh, her dressing room? Did you write her name?" The little assistant didn't expect Ning Shi to say the same words as Su Tao, and her face suddenly became extremely ugly. She could scold Su Tao at will, but she didn't dare to use the same attitude to Ning Shi, and could only look aggrieved. "Teacher Ning, this is indeed our Yu's dressing room. If you don't believe me, you can ask Sonaris-chun." "All right, I'll ask now." Ning Shi turned to look at Sonaris-chun and asked calmly, "Sonaris-chun, may I ask, whose dressing room is this?" Sonaris-chun wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. After a short silence, he answered almost immediately, This is, of course, Teacher Ning's dressing room. It's your exclusive dressing room." After saying that, he hurriedly winked at the female assistant next to him. "What?" The little assistant's face was full of disbelief. She was about to speak, but she saw the female assistant next to Sonaris-chun quickly nod and rush over after receiving the leader's gaze. Soon after, he returned with a white cardboard nameplate in his hand. A few bold black characters were written on the cardboard. Ning Shi's exclusive dressing room. The assistant, Yin Yu, and the others watched helplessly as the female assistant hung the big and conspicuous cardboard on the door. "Did you see that?" Ning Shi's expression didn't change from beginning to end, except for the coldness in her eyes. "You guys." The assistant with the sharp chin stared at the scene and saw the director's attitude. His face darkened as he choked on his words. Yin Yu trembled with anger and almost died on the spot. Chapter 1999. That was not the end. Sonaris-chun immediately turned to Yin Yu and the others and said, "Ms. Yin, I think you must have gone to the wrong dressing room. Please change to another dressing room immediately." Damn, wrong room. It turned out that they went to the wrong room. They came early in the morning. Okay. And this was obviously the dressing room that Yu had been using. However, at this moment, it was obvious that Sonaris-chun did not dare to offend Ning Shi because of her high status. It was all intentional. "Please," Sonaris-chun urged again. The little assistant didn't dare to say a word at this moment. If Ning Shi didn't care, she could naturally be unscrupulous, but Ning Shi obviously wanted to stand up for Qin Shuang. What else did she dare to say? Yin Yu had never suffered such a great humiliation. Her nails pinched into her palms, and she almost lost her composure on the spot. She used all her self-control to make herself bear it. "Let's go." In the room, the group of people brought by Yin Yu lowered their heads and quickly packed up their things. A group of people walked to the door. When they passed by Su Tao and Qin Shuang, the little assistant with a sharp chin was so angry that she said fiercely, "What are you proud of? A villain intoxicated by success. Aren't you just holding on to Ning Shi's thighs?" The little assistant's voice was not low, so Ning Shi naturally heard it. Seeing that Su Tao and Qin Shuang's faces were not good, Ning Shi's face suddenly became cold. At this moment, Ning Shi, who was sitting on Yin Yu's seat, suddenly stood up and walked towards Qin Shuang and Su Tao while saying, "Brother Tao, Shuang, follow me to the dressing room upstairs." Ning Shi's dressing room was originally arranged upstairs. Although Yin Yu's dressing room was already very good, the most luxurious dressing room in the station, which was specially prepared for international bigwigs like Song Lin, was the one upstairs. Qin Shuang nodded obediently. When Yin Yu heard the word upstairs, her face became even uglier. At this moment, a staff member from the station rushed over to inform her, panting, "Miss Yin, your program is about to start. Please get ready to go on stage." "What?" The little assistant's face suddenly changed. "But our Yu's makeup is only halfway done." Speaking of this, the little assistant didn't care so much and quickly said, "Since Ms. Ning wants to go to another dressing room, we don't need this one." Then, let our Yu go in and touch up her makeup. After saying that, he was about to rush in. Ningxi smiled and glanced at the words, Ningxi's exclusive dressing room on the door. Did I allow you to use it? Not only does she want to snatch it, but even if she doesn't use it, it won't be your turn. How could Xianxia's Chin not understand what Ningxi meant? He immediately said, I'm afraid that's not possible. This is Teacher Ning's exclusive dressing room. Without Teacher Ning's permission, outsiders are not allowed to enter. Please choose another place. The public dressing room is opposite. What? You actually let our Yu go to the public dressing room. Also, why aren't we allowed to use it even though it's empty? The assistant couldn't believe it. Xianxia's Chun said expressionlessly, this room was originally reserved for Teacher Ning. From the beginning, you were the ones who made the mistake. We can't do anything about it. If you can't make it in time, I can only let the later programs take over. This was simply going too far. The junior assistant was furious, but there was no other way. If there were any more delays, the show would really be canceled. In the end, Yu and the others had no choice but to squeeze into the overcrowded public makeup room and finish the rest of their makeup under the curious gazes of the other celebrities. Chapter 2000. On the stage, Yu was in a hurry and was in a bad mood. She was not in the right state of mind. She sang off several notes in the middle of the song, and one high note broke. As soon as Yu returned to the backstage with a gloomy face, she heard whispers coming from inside. Oh my God, who gave Yu the courage to choose this kind of program? Haha, so many celebrities have been involved in lip-syncing scandals recently. At least she can prove that it's not lip-syncing. There's such a thing? Hey, that's not the point, okay? Do any of you know what happened to Yu? Why did she squeeze into the public dressing room with us? Doesn't she always have her own dressing room? Haha, I know. I just heard that Su Tao and Qin Shuang went to the wrong dressing room, and Yu used it to find fault with them, saying that they deliberately wanted to snatch the dressing room, and even asked people to drive them out. And then? How did Yu come out in the end? The female artist who claimed to have inside information said excitedly. Then the goddess Ningxi arrived. I don't need to tell you what happened next, right? Ningxi is quite loyal, and I heard that she is especially protective of the artists in the same company. Recently, in addition to Qin Shuang, there are several more in the Golden Age. Yu is arrogant and domineering all day long because of her high position. This time, she kicked an iron plate. She only knows how to bully those who are lower than her. If you have the ability, go against Ningxi. Hearing those people's words, Yu trembled with anger. Have you said enough? The voice of the gossip master suddenly came from behind. Everyone was startled, and they all lowered their heads and pretended to be busy, as if nothing had happened, for fear of being swept by the storm tail of this person. Until Yu left in a rage, the crowd became even more excited to gossip. What do you think Yu will do this time? Those who offended Yu in the past were all punished badly. Someone asked, punish Ningxi? Are you kidding? Yu's position is not at the same level as Ningxi at all. Okay? Look at the attitude of the station. Don't forget that Yu has Han Zixuan. Didn't these two have the best relationship? Han Zixuan is such an autocratic and selfish person, but she takes good care of Yu. The person who spoke rolled his eyes. Han Zixuan was suppressed so badly by Ningxi that she can't even take care of herself. I think it's still too early to decide the winner. Golden Era's strength and Han Zixuan's popularity are right there. They still have a chance. At night, in a high-class club. At that moment, Han Zixuan and Ning Shuo were sitting opposite each other at a table in the pavilion. Han Zixuan's face was full of anger and grievance. Vice President Ning, when you were here, you always took care of me and promoted me. But since you left, I really can't stay in the company anymore. When will you come back? Han Zixuan asked the question that concerned her the most. Ever since Su Yin took over the company, she had been under more and more pressure. She really couldn't sit still anymore, so she asked Ning Shuo out in private. Ning Shuo listened to Han Zixuan's crying, and her face was full of helplessness. I'm very sorry, Zixuan. I don't have any power in my hands now. I'm afraid I really can't help you. Han Zixuan's expression immediately changed. Vice President Ning, I really don't understand. Why did you suddenly leave the company? Chapter 2001. A trace of viciousness flashed across Ning Xiao's eyes, but her face was weak and helpless. She smiled bitterly and shook her head. Why would I leave if I could? I've been in Starlight for so long. Starlight is like my second home. You're like my sister. I want to stay in the company too, but halfway through her words, Ning Xiu suddenly sighed, and the smile on her face became more and more bitter. Forget it. It's fine. I've left. It's useless to say anything now. I'm just dragging you into this. Because of me, Ning Xiu suddenly shut her mouth and pretended to look at Han Zixuan in surprise, as if she had accidentally said something wrong. Han Zixuan was not a fool. She could obviously tell that Ning Xiuhua had something to say, and it was related to her. How did she let it go? She quickly reached out to hold Ning Xiuhua's hand and said, Vice President Ning, what happened? I was raised by you. Don't tell me you don't even trust me? Ning Xiuhua shook her head bitterly. Zixuan, you're like my sister. How can I not trust you? It's just that things are different now. No matter what happened in the past, I could protect you, but now, I don't want to tell you because I'm afraid of dragging you into this. After all, I can't even protect myself now. Can't protect yourself? Ning Xiuhua's words shocked Han Zixuan. Ning Xiuhua was now the young mistress of the Su family. With her identity and status, who could threaten her? Subconsciously, Ning Xi's delicate face suddenly flashed across Han Zixuan's mind. Wasn't it because Ning Xi pressured Ning Xiuhua to quit the film industry? Could it be? Han Zixuan looked at Ning Xiuhua with some uncertainty. After hesitating for a while, she whispered, Is it Ning Xi? When Han Zixuan said Ning Xi's name, Ning Xiuhua's shoulders obviously trembled. She pretended to be aggrieved and lowered her head to hide the look in her eyes. But it was obvious that she had suffered a great grievance and was enduring it silently. Ning Xi again. Han Zixuan looked at Ning Xiuhua's reaction. It was obviously related to Ning Xi. That bitch is torturing you again? You were at the peak of the film industry. If it weren't for her, you wouldn't have left the stage. Now that you've retreated, she still won't let you off. She's so shameless. Han Zixuan said angrily, not because she felt wronged for Ning Shui, but because her enemy happened to be Ning Xi. This anger was quite real. Ning Xiuhua secretly observed Han Zixian's reaction. Naturally, she knew what Han Zixian was thinking, but she did not show it on her face. She raised her head with a bitter smile and glanced at Han Zixian with a lonely and helpless gaze. Her hand subconsciously touched her flat stomach. It's not Ning Xi's fault. It's my own problem. Not long ago, I found out that I was pregnant. Su Yin was afraid that I would have to work too hard, so he asked me to temporarily retire from Starlight to focus on my pregnancy. Ning Xiuhua paused. There was a hint of loneliness in her voice. You're pregnant? Han Zixuan's eyes widened in surprise, but she quickly pretended to be pleasantly surprised and said, Congratulations, Vice President Ning. You're really lucky. President Su loves you so much, and now that you have a child, President Su will definitely treat you like a treasure and treat you well. It's really enviable. Chapter 2002. Ning Shui's heart trembled as she landed on the ground. Her face was full of tenderness. I'm very happy that the child came so suddenly, but Su Yin said that Starlight was too busy to come back recently. Busy? Han Zixuan was slightly stunned. Because of Ning Xi's return, the artists of Starlight were under a lot of pressure during this period. Compared with the peak period in the past, there was no comparison at all. Su Yin was the largest shareholder of Starlight. He didn't need to do ordinary things. How could he be so busy that he didn't have time to take care of his pregnant wife? Speaking of which, Su Yan's only action in the company during this period was probably a shocking speculation suddenly formed in Han Zixuan's mind. She pretended to be calm and looked at Ning Xiuhua, asking tentatively, Vice President Ning, do you know that President Su wants to poach Ning Xi to Starlight? There was a flash of jealousy in Ning Xiaoluo's eyes, but she suddenly looked shocked. She suddenly widened her eyes and looked at Han Zixuan in disbelief. What? He wants to poach Ning Shi to Starlight? Ning Xiaoluo's reaction startled Han Zixuan. Vice President Ning, don't you know? I also think it's strange. Why would President Su want to poach Ning Shi to Starlight Entertainment? Ning Shi was kicked out of Starlight Entertainment in the past. Now you're spending a lot of money to poach her back. If others find out, won't they laugh at Starlight Entertainment for lacking talents? Ning Xiaoluo's face darkened. She lowered her head, and there was a bitter taste in her mouth. Why is she still unwilling to let Su Yin go? Vice President Ning Shi, and President Su. Han Zixuan was shocked. Ning Xiaoluo seemed to realize that she had let the cat out of the bag. She hurriedly raised her hand to cover her mouth and looked at Han Zixuan miserably. No, nothing. Ning she just met Su Yin a long time ago. Although Ning Shi loved Su Yin, that was a long time ago. Now, they have nothing to do with each other. They don't have anything to do with each other. Ning Xiaoluo's voice became lower and lower. The grievance and bitterness in her voice made people feel sorry for her. Han Zixuan had never expected that the truth would be like this. Ning Shi and Su Yin had known each other for a long time, and Ning Shi had pursued Su Yin before. This series of news shocked Han Zixuan. She then thought of Su Yan's frequent attempts to poach Ning Shi during this period of time, and then thought of how Ning Xiaoluo was pregnant, but Su Yin still did not return. Ning Shi is too much. You were pregnant. She actually tried to seduce CEO Su with these foxy tricks. Was she even human? Wasn't it enough that she forced you to retreat from the entertainment industry? Now she even wants to interfere in your relationship with President Su. Han Zixuan pretended to be angry, but she was already overjoyed. All right, Ning Shi, I thought you had some great ability, but in the end, you're just a shameless bitch. Subconsciously, Han Zixuan sneaked a peek at the gap of the sofa. Under the light, a cold light flashed. It was the camera that she had prepared in advance. She wanted to get some information from Ning Xiaoluo, but she did not expect that the news would be so explosive. Ning Xiaoluo raised her head with tears in her eyes. She bit her lip and shook her head at Han Zixuan. No, it's not like this. Su Yin, he wouldn't do this to me. He's really busy, not because of Ning Shi. Ning Xiaoluo's voice was bitter and sounded like she was about to cry. Her expression hid great grievance, but she could only bear it silently. As Han Zixuan comforted Ning Xiaoluo, who was out of control, she secretly narrowed her eyes. A vicious cold light flashed in her eyes. Ning Shi, I don't believe that you won't die this time. Ning Xiaoluo, who was being comforted by Han Zixuan, lowered her head to hide the viciousness in her eyes. Chapter 2003. After comforting Ning Xiaoluo, Han Zixuan personally sent her out of the clubhouse. She turned around and immediately took out the camera hidden in the gap of the sofa. Under the flickering light, Han Zixuan watched all the footage she had just recorded. As Ning Xiaoluo's slightly crying voice came from the video, Han Zixuan's eyes were filled with malice. Ning Shi, I want to see what you can do this time. The next morning, the phone rang and broke the silence of the morning. Ning Shi picked up the noisy phone and looked at the name of Su Tao on it. She mumbled and poked her head out of Lu Tingxiao's warm arms. She answered the phone with one hand and said lazily, Brother Tao, what's the matter so early in the morning? Before Ning Shi finished her words, Su Tao on the other side of the phone instantly exploded. My queen, go to Weibo and have a look. It's all over the internet. Weibo? Ning Shi was confused by Su Tao's roar. She took the phone and walked to the computer, opened it, and logged in her Weibo. As soon as she logged in, a series of notifications almost blew up the computer. On the hot search list of Weibo, the words Movie Queen Ning, she seduced a married man, were on the top. Who the hell did I seduce this time? Ning Shi stared at the unbelievable words. This kind of rumor seemed to have never stopped since she started her career. Ning Shi thought it was the same as before. Someone was making groundless accusations against her. However, Su Tao on the other side of the phone was so nervous that he almost roared. Ningxi, this time it's a big deal. Go and have a look. The video has been posted on the internet. Liang Feixing and I started to suppress the news as soon as we saw it, but it didn't work at all. It's obvious that someone is behind it. Now the hot search is getting more and more popular. We can't suppress it anymore. Take a look at the video and come to the company as soon as possible. Let's discuss how to suppress this matter. Su Tao didn't even have time to take a breath. It could be seen that the situation was serious. There was a video? What video was it? Ningxi frowned slightly and followed Su Tao's words to click on the hot search. Under the hot search terms, she saw a video with an eye-catching title on the pinnacle of the Weibo post. Ningxi clicked on the video and frowned. In the video, Han Zixuan and Ning Xiueluo's faces were clearly shown. The two of them seemed to be chatting in a club. At first, he didn't think anything was wrong with Ningxi, but the more he looked at her, the more he felt something was wrong. When Han Zixuan mentioned Ningxi in the video, Ning Xiueluo felt wronged and cried secretly. Her words were full of sadness and loneliness, and she even directly exposed the ambiguous past between Ningxi and Su Yin many years ago while sobbing. On this Weibo post, there is a long paragraph of incisive words that stirred people's hearts. The famous movie star Ning, she was shameless to such an extent. She seduced a married man, completely disregarding the fact that his wife was pregnant, causing the husband to neglect his pregnant wife, causing the pregnant woman to be mentally and physically exhausted. She was simply shameless. She did not mention the names of the couple who were involved. However, as long as one was not blind, they would be able to recognize at a glance that the crying woman in the video was Ning Xiueluo, who had disappeared for a long time. At that moment, Weibo was in an uproar. Under the pinned Weibo post, the number of comments went up to hundreds of thousands overnight. Chapter 2004. I didn't expect Ning Xi to be such a woman. Ning Xiueluo has been out of the entertainment industry for a long time, but she still won't let her go. Ning Xiueluo was forced out of the entertainment industry by Ning Xi's dirty tricks. Now that I think about it, Ning Xiueluo was really wronged. She didn't do anything bad. It wasn't her fault that she was switched to the hospital. But in the end, she was forced to leave the entertainment industry because of Ning Xi. Now I think about it, the entertainment industry is really terrible. Ning, she's a vixen. She doesn't look like a good person. She has been involved in many scandals. Now she is even more shameless. She even seduced Ning Xiueluo's husband. Ning Xiueluo was persecuted and ruined. Now it is so difficult for her to be a woman who has nothing to do with the world. She has to bear the pain of pregnancy for 10 months, and now she's being poached by someone. Not long ago, I heard that Starlight wanted to poach Ning Xi. If I remember correctly, Su Yan's shares have been transferred to Ning Xiueluo. Ning Xiueluo is the vice president of the company. But not long ago, Ning Xiueluo was suddenly pushed out of the company and replaced by Su Yan. Now Su Yan wants to poach Ning Xi. TSK, it's really scary. Scumbag and bitch. Rows of abusive words covered the entire comment section at a speed visible to the naked eye. Under the trending words, all kinds of abuse and revelations emerged one after another. Ning Xi's fans were also in an uproar. How could they believe that Ning Xi would do such a thing? Looking at the abuse on the internet, the true fans who supported Brother Xi immediately rolled up their sleeves and began to fight. In just one morning, the entire Weibo was torn into a battlefield by the abusive people and the true fans. Even though the true fans were fighting fiercely, they still couldn't stop the attacks from the internet water army and the onlookers who didn't know the truth. In the blink of an eye, Ning Xi out of the entertainment industry rose to the second hot search list. Ning Xi looked at the rows of abuse and the true fans' protection on the screen, and her expression suddenly became a little strange. Xi and Su Yan? Lu Tingxiao walked behind Ning Xi. His deep eyes swept over the obscene words on the computer, and he raised his hand to close the laptop. Dirty eyes. Sweetheart, did I wake you? Ning Xi directly reached out to support the screen. First, she hooked her arms around Lu Tingxiao's neck and gave him a good morning kiss. Then she casually hooked her lips and said, "I've seen all kinds of storms. This is nothing to me." Lu Tingxiao did not comment, but retracted his hand. Ningxi leaned back slightly, her body leaning against Lu Tingxiao's long legs. She raised her hand and pointed at a comment that was surviving in the midst of a group of abusive comments. "Bullshit. Would our brother Shi fall for that coward Su Yan? Don't think that you're invincible just because you have some money. Do you really think that everyone loves your money?" Ning Shuloa's acting is really terrible. No wonder she couldn't survive in the film and television industry. What else can a woman who occupies a man's home do other than shed a few crocodile tears to gain sympathy? If you're jealous of my brother Shi, just say it. You're really going all out to smear your own husband. Look, this must be my own fan. This fighting power, this sharpness. TSK, it's awesome. Not only was Ning Shi not angry because of the hot search, but she even admired the fighting power of her own fans with their bare hands. Chapter 2005. Ning Shi's diehard fans, are you deaf? She said to herself that Ning Shi has always been in love with Su Yin and plotted against him. If there wasn't something unspeakable between the two of them, why would Su Yin suddenly kick his wife out of the company and poach Ning Shi as soon as he took power? Who's deaf? I think some people are not only deaf, but they're also diehard. Ning Shuo had said to herself that it was because she was pregnant that Su Yin asked her to retire from Starlight to let her rest in peace. Han Zishuan was the one who said the whole poaching thing. How do you know that Han Zishuan was deliberately provoking Ning Shuo to help her deal with Ning Shi? Our brother Shi is doing fine in Xianxia and has been busy with work recently. Han Zishuan has been suppressed so badly by our brother Shi. She can't play with him on the surface, so she's starting to play tricks behind his back. Otherwise, why would she secretly record her meeting with Ning Shuo? She's obviously prepared. How can we believe someone like her? Our brother Shi has been slandered ever since he debuted. He's seen too many of these despicable tactics. In a high-end villa in the capital, Han Zishuan's eyes were filled with coldness and mockery as she read the doubtful comments on the internet. They're still trying to clear their name at this point. Zhang Anru said smugly, "They're dead meat this time. Ning Shi definitely doesn't know that we have something even more shocking in our hands. Zishuan, let's send the evidence out now. Let's see what else they can say when the evidence is sent out." Han Zishuan curled her lips and brushed her nails. She said slowly, "What's the rush? Let them jump around a little longer. The more they protect Ning Shi now, the more disappointed they'll be when they find out the truth." She was really lucky this time. Not only did she get Ning Shi's secret from Ning Shuo, but she also got a video that could destroy Ning Shi eternally. Zhang Anru nodded excitedly. Yes, when the time comes, all these fans will turn against her. It's so satisfying to think about how she'll be scolded by her own fans. That night, the fight between the two sides entered a white-hot stage. The Internet Water Army was overwhelming. Although Ning Shi's fans were not as many as the Internet Water Army, their fighting capacity was very high. In the evening, they even faintly surpassed Ning Shi's fans. At this moment, Han Zishuan released another Weibo post. Originally, I just couldn't stand watching someone's shamelessness and didn't want innocent people to get hurt. I didn't expect it to cause so many malicious speculations. Now, even passers-by can't stand someone's disgusting table manners. I just received an anonymous email. Please judge for yourselves what the truth is. This Weibo post was accompanied by a video. In the video, it was a certain luxurious hotel in the imperial capital. Not far away, the logo of YLD could be vaguely seen. The banquet hall was filled with fragrant clothes, and people were toasting each other. It seemed like they were at YLD's fashion banquet. Then, the scene quickly switched to the small garden behind the banquet hall. A woman was sitting on a swing, and a man was standing beside her. Although it was nighttime and the lighting was dim, the angle of the video clearly showed their faces. And these two people were the male and female leads of the scandal, Ning Shi and Su Yin. The two seemed to be having a conversation. Su Yin, Xiaoxi, Su Yin, Xiaoxi, I'm calling you for business this time. Ningxi, oh, business? Su Yin, Xiaoxi, come to Starlight. Chapter 2006. The short 10-second video had just been released, and it immediately set off a monstrous wave on the internet. Everyone was shocked. Ning Shuiluo and Han Zixuan's fans were like hungry wolves that had not eaten for a few days. They pounced on them with bloodshot eyes. Fuck. They are indeed a pair of adulterers. Ningxi's diehard fans. What else do you have to say? The evidence is irrefutable. Who dares to say that our Zixuan is creating trouble? Seducing a married man, bewitching him into taking away all the power from his wife, poaching her, leaving a pregnant woman alone at home in the middle of the night. Then the two of them hid in the small garden to have a private rendezvous. How shameless. Zixuan was just defending her friend, but Ningxi's diehard fans are attacking her like crazy. Fortunately, justice will never be absent. I thought Zheng Anru's words were a bit harsh, but now I think it was too light. It's an insult to Zixuan to compare her with her. Didn't she get to the top with her face and body? It's just that she hid it so well that she deceived everyone. Now the truth is finally out. Ningxi's diehard fans, why aren't you saying anything? Come on. At Xianxia Entertainment, Liang Feixing and Su Tao were paying close attention to the situation on the internet. Su Tao sneered. Tut, Han Zixuan still has a backup plan. Liang Feixing squinted at him. Needless to say, otherwise, she wouldn't have dared to use her real body. Su Tao yawned and said in a bored tone, boring. Are we going to send the information on our side? Liang Feixing looked at Ning, she who was sitting on the sofa opposite him. Ningxi, what do you think? Ningxi looked away from the computer screen, tilted her head with one hand, and tapped the armrest with the other. Of course we will post a video, but it won't be that easy. When she said the last sentence, a cold gleam flashed across Ningxi's eyes. Su Tao hurriedly asked, Your Majesty, what do you mean? Ningxi's fingers stopped moving. She looked at Su Tao and said word by word, Clean house. She had to start all over again when she had just woken up, and Golden Era was in a terrible state. She had no choice but to fight passively. But now, it was time to take care of Han Zixuan. Su Tao's eyes lit up when he heard the domineering words. Your Majesty Queen is mighty and domineering. You're right. Do you think it's that easy to get away with slandering someone? Liang Feixing muttered to himself. I've been secretly investigating Han Zixuan recently, but she's indeed very cautious. I haven't found any useful information after so long. Otherwise, he would have gotten rid of her long ago. How could he let her continue to jump around here? Su Tao nodded in agreement. That's true. There are too many scandals about Han Zixuan, but there's no evidence. It's useless to say anything. Ningxi's gaze fell on Su Tao, and she asked, Brother Tao, have you forgotten about Yin Yuyu? Su Tao was puzzled. Yin Yuyu? What did this have to do with Yin Yuyu? With Han Zixuan's personality, why would she take such good care of Yin Yuyu after she changed jobs? Ningxi asked. Chapter 2007. Su Tao's heart skipped a beat when he heard that. This is indeed strange. They weren't familiar with each other when they were at Golden Era. After they moved to Starlight, not only did Han Zixuan suppress the artist from Starlight, she also kept a close eye on the artists who jumped over from Golden Era. She didn't allow anyone to surpass her position. Yin Yuyu is also an A-lister like her, so she is a big threat to her. Their relationship should be like fire and water. But on the surface, Han Zixuan and Yin Yuyu are very close. Han Zixuan often pulls strings for Yin Yuyu and even attends important events with her. Liang Feixing also reacted. This does not make sense. I remember there was once when Yin Yuyu directly snatched a role from Han Zixuan. Han Zixuan didn't say anything about it. Afterward, she even told the media that she was the one who recommended the role to Yin Yuyu. But everyone in the industry knows that Han Zixuan has been eyeing the role for a long time. Speaking of this, Su Tao suddenly jumped up in excitement. Is it possible that Yin Yuyu has something on Han Zixuan? Very likely. Liang Feixing nodded. Su Tao looked at Ning, she with admiration. Queen, you're so awesome. Why didn't I think of that? Ning, she chuckled. I'm just a bystander. It's just a guess. I'll have to trouble Brother Tao for the rest. Su Tao immediately said, Queen, don't worry. I'll take care of it. Liang Feixing sighed and said, I've fallen into the same mindset before. I've always been thinking about investigating Han Zixuan's background and neglected other things. I think Ning Shi's guess is right. Yin Yu has something very important in her hands. It's enough to make Han Zixuan lose her career in the entertainment industry. But Yin Yu will never give it to us. Su Tao raised his eyebrows and said confidently, Don't worry about it. It's just a small case. Liang Feixing raised his eyebrows. Okay, I forgot that you're here. Ning Shi smiled. Then I'll wait for your good news, Brother Tao. Late at night, in a private room of a restaurant, Yin Yu threw her bag on the table beside her with a paw sound. She crossed her arms and looked at the man in front of her impatiently. Say it. Why did you call me here? Su Tao's attitude was attentive, but there was a hint of nervousness in his eyes. I'm sorry to disturb you so late at night. I really have something urgent to attend to. Yin Yu snorted. If it's because of Ning Shi, you'd better give up. Ning, she was going to die this time. Yin Yu was filled with anger at the thought of the humiliation she had suffered at the Imperial Capital TV station that day. Naturally, she would not let go of such a great opportunity to mock her. This was also the reason why she came over when Su Tao asked her out. Of course, she wanted to take a good look at Su Tao's dejected appearance. TSK, I really pity Brother Tao. He had just hugged onto a golden thigh, but now he has become a pile of mud. Ha ha! Su Tao's expression was very ugly and distressed. After a moment of silence, he said meaningfully, Yu, it doesn't matter what happens to me. Actually, the one who loses the most is you. Yin Yu was instantly displeased. She snorted coldly. What nonsense are you talking about? What I have to lose? Su Tao immediately revealed an extremely surprised look. Don't you know? Chapter 2008. Know what? Yin Yu sneered. Should you know that the thigh you've been hugging is about to fall? Or are you going to go back to the way you were in the past, bringing a bunch of small-time artists around all day? Su Tao looked at Yin Yu, who was full of mockery, but he was not angry at all. He only shook his head. You can mock me all you want. I'm here today not because of Ning Shi, but because of you. Because of me? Yin Yu chuckled and looked at Su Tao with an incredulous look. Then I really have to thank you for your kindness. But instead of worrying about me, why don't you think about how to clean up Ning Shi's mess? Now that Ning Shi is involved in this matter, I'm afraid that no matter how powerful Golden Era is, there's nothing you can do. Hurry up and think of someone to support her, or else she'll end up on the streets again after she falls. Su Tao did not show any signs of anger in the face of Yin Yu's constant mockery. He only smiled bitterly. Ning Shi, this matter isn't that easy to solve. I came to find you today because I remembered the time when you were in Golden Era. When you first came to Golden Era, I could tell that you had the potential to become famous. Although I'm very unhappy that you've jumped ship to Starlight, but as long as you have a good future, it's fine. Su Tao, there's no point in playing the emotional card with me now, right? And you did not look happy at all. Su Tao smiled bitterly. I've been in a bad mood for the past few days, so I wanted to talk to someone. Even though you're no longer in Golden Era, we're still colleagues. Just take it that you're pitying me and talking to me. Yin Yu frowned slightly. She felt that Su Tao was acting weird today, but when she thought of how Su Tao hugged Ning Shi's thigh and swaggered around, she did not mind admiring Su Tao's downfall. All right, Yin Yu, am not an ingrate. Say what you want to say. A gratified smile appeared on Su Tao's face, but a trace of coldness flashed across his eyes. How could he not know that Yin Yu was prepared to see him make a fool of himself? Yu, you're very talented. Golden Era chose you because they wanted you to be their #1 sister. But you're doing well in Starlight too. Even though Han Zixuan is above you, it's still good enough. Su Tao said casually, but when these words entered Yin Yu's ears, it sounded particularly sarcastic. When Yu chose to jump ship to Starlight, she had hoped that Starlight would support her and make her the big sister of Starlight. However, who would have thought that Han Zishuan would firmly suppress her, making it difficult for Yu to take another step forward in Starlight? Some time ago, Ningxi finally came back and suppressed Han Zishuan's limelight, causing Han Zishuan's popularity to plummet. Starshine was also prepared to transfer resources to support Yu to become the #1 sister of Starshine. But Yu suddenly frowned. The reason why Starlight wanted to support her was because Han Zishuan was suppressed by Ningxi. However, once Ningxi was brought down by the matter of being a mistress, no one would be able to suppress Han Zishuan's limelight anymore. Before this, Yu was happy that Ningxi was about to fall. But now, she suddenly thought of her own situation, and she could not smile anymore. Chapter 2009. If Ningxi didn't fall, Han Zishuan wouldn't have a chance to make a name for herself. Starlight would inevitably shift its resources to Yu. But if Ningxi fell, although Yu resented Ningxi in this way, Han Zishuan was bound to make a comeback. At that time, Yu would no longer be the top sister of Starlight. Yu didn't realize this problem at first, but after hearing Su Tao's words, she suddenly felt that she was overjoyed. If she didn't have Han Zishuan's secret, she would have been the first one to be attacked. Even so, she knew very well that this secret could only prevent Han Zishuan from punishing her. She was trembling with fear every day in Starlight, wagging her tail like a dog, hoping that Han Zishuan would give her some pitiful resources. After all, she was also an artist of Starlight. If this secret was exposed, Han Zishuan would be finished, but so would she. If Starlight found out that she was secretly messing around with an artist from the same company, she would definitely be blacklisted. Han Zishuan naturally knew this. She knew that Yu wouldn't dare to release this news, so they could only maintain a delicate balance. Ningxi's appearance had given her a glimmer of hope, but now that Ningxi had fallen, everything was back to square one. Moreover, Han Zishuan would only be more unscrupulous in the future, so the effect of this secret would only become weaker. On the contrary, when Ningxi, her biggest enemy, was eliminated, Han Zishuan would probably see her as a thorn in her side and get rid of her as soon as possible. Seeing that Yu was thinking about something and looking worse and worse, Su Tao pretended to sigh casually and said, "Alas, Ningxi is going to have a hard time." Han Zishuan was suppressed by Ningxi and almost couldn't stand it anymore. Now that Ningxi has fallen, she will be more popular. At the end of the day, if there's really someone who's going to rise, I'd rather it be you. After all, when you rise in the future, you're someone I've managed before, so I'll look better. Yu's expression turned uglier. If Ningxi fell, how could she rise again in Starlight? She knew Han Zishuan's personality very well. In a short span of half a year since Han Zishuan had joined the company, whether it was the old artists from Starlight Entertainment or those from Golden Era, as long as they tried to steal the limelight from her, they would all be crushed by her. Because of Ningxi's comeback, Han Zishuan had been suppressed, and the senior management of Starlight Entertainment had revealed that they wanted to promote her to be the top sister of Starlight Entertainment. It was impossible that Han Zishuan didn't know this news. She must have hated her a long time ago. If Han Zishuan became popular again, given Han Zishuan's character, she would give her a lot of trouble. Su Tao secretly saw the change in Yu's expression, and a smile rose from the bottom of his heart. However, he still wore a disappointed expression on his face, as if he was very lonely. He sighed. Poor Qin Shuang. She completely relied on Ningxi to rise to the top. Now that Ningxi is finished, I'm afraid she won't be able to keep it. Xiaorou has also disappeared. Among the people I've managed, you're the only one who's still fine. Sometimes I think that maybe it was right for you to leave Golden Era. You can only blame me for being useless and not being able to get the best resources for you. If it were now, I would definitely be able to get the same resources for you as Ningxi. I sigh. I'm talking nonsense again. It's all my fault. Just pretend that you didn't hear anything. The same resources as Ningxi. In Yuyu's eyes suddenly lit up at this moment. Chapter 2010. The current Golden Era was different from before. Even if Ningxi fell, Golden Era's current resources would not disappear. If she exposed that weakness and caused Han Zixuan to fall, even if Starlight wanted to ban her, if she could return to Golden Era, then she would not have to worry about anything. One should know that Ningxi's current resources were a few levels higher than Han Zixuan's when Starlight was at its peak. With Ningxi's fall, Golden Era would be without a leader. With her talent, as long as she returned, no one in Golden Era could compare to her. In order to avoid being suppressed by Starlight, Golden Era would definitely raise a new leader in the shortest time possible, and no one was more suitable than her. One by one, In Yuyu's longing kept appearing in her mind. Looking at Su Tao, who was sighing in front of her, a hint of greed flashed in her eyes, and a gentle smile suddenly appeared on her exquisitely made-up face. Brother Tao, it's not been easy for you during this period. I've always remembered how good you were to me in Golden Era. I'm only where I am today because of Golden Era's nurturing. I won't forget these things. Although we're not in the same company now, we can still keep in touch in the future. Our relationship is still there. Su Tao's heart was full of disdain, but there was a smile on his face. Yuyu, I'm satisfied with your words. It's getting late. You should go back first. Let's keep in touch in the future. Yuyu confided in Su Tao again, then pretended to leave reluctantly. After returning, Yuyu threw down her bag and rushed to the attic on the top floor of the villa. After locking the door with a bang, Yuyu anxiously rummaged through the drawers and cabinets, and finally took out a safe from a secret compartment. Entering the password, Yuyu took out a small silver USB flash drive from the safe. Yuyu stared at the USB flash drive, the expression in her eyes changing. After a moment of hesitation, she held the USB flash drive tightly in her hand, her gaze becoming more and more sinister. Han Zixuan, you've been above me for so long. It's time to give up. On the other side, Su Tao hummed a song, swinging his car keys as he returned to the apartment. He took a refreshing shower, then wandered to the study room and turned on his computer. Because of the second video posted by Han Zixuan, the scolding of Ning, she had completely drowned out all other voices. Mistresses always attracted hatred, especially when Ning Xiuhua was pregnant. In addition, Ning Xiuhua's retirement from acting had something to do with Ning Shi. The discussion on the internet had become one-sided. A group of passers-by who didn't know the truth also joined the battle because of Ning Xiuhua's weak image. Without strong evidence, it would be difficult for Ning Shi to reverse the situation. While Su Tao was leisurely browsing through the comments, he suddenly received a notification on the bottom right corner of his computer. Su Tao moved his mouse and clicked on it. After reading the content of the email, Su Tao's eyes suddenly lit up, and the corners of his mouth suddenly curled up. He thought that the earliest Yuyu would make a move was the next morning. Who would have thought that he would be so impatient? It seemed that Yuyu's hatred for Han Zixuan was no less than her hatred for Ningxi. She must have been suppressed by Han Zixuan and Starlight. Actually, whether Yuyu would take the bait or not depended on whether the bait was big enough. The bait he threw out this time was definitely big enough. There were two videos in the email. One was in the office, and the other one was in the nanny van. The degree of explosiveness was enough to make an experienced driver like him gasp in amazement. Gee, Yuyu really didn't let him down. Chapter 2011. Overnight, Han Zixuan's scandal became the hottest news on the major websites, magazines, and newspapers. In just one day, Ningxi's involvement in the gossip between Su Yin and Ning Xiuhua was like an atomic bomb, shocking the whole entertainment circle. Hey, have you heard about Ningxi? This was practically the first sentence that everyone in the circle would say when they met and greeted each other. Of course I have. Is there anyone who doesn't know about it? I didn't expect that Ningxi and Su Yin would have such a relationship. I felt sorry for her and admired Ningxi, but it turns out that she's not a good person. I thought she got to where she is today by herself. She's just a prostitute. Don't insult a prostitute. She coveted someone else's boyfriend and even asked Su Yin to kick his wife out of the company to make way for her. Besides, she knew Ning Xiaoluo was pregnant. This kind of person is disgusting. Ningxi just got the role of the leading actress in The Killer. It's already halfway through the shooting. I don't think she can keep her leading actress role. Are you kidding? Leading actress? Does she still want to stay in the entertainment circle after this? She can forget about coming back in this life. By the way, will Han Zixuan make a comeback after Ningxi falls? Who can she blame? She can only blame Ningxi for her bad character and letting others seize the opportunity. Gee, the entertainment circle is going to change again. At a charity banquet, everyone was gathered in groups of 3 to 5 and chatting. Just as they were gossiping enthusiastically, someone suddenly looked towards the door in excitement. Look, Han Zixuan, accompanied by her agent. Han Zixuan walked into the banquet hall in an elegant champagne-colored mermaid dress. Han Zixuan's appearance immediately attracted a large number of reporters. Everyone carried their weapons and surrounded Han Zixuan in an instant. A reporter asked, Zixuan, what do you think about Ningxi seducing a married woman? A reporter asked, Zixuan, why did you choose to expose this scandal? Facing the reporter's question, Han Zixuan paused for a moment, and a faint disdain appeared on her exquisitely made-up face. I have nothing to do with what happened to Ningxi. However, Miss Ning Xiaoluo is both my superior and my friend. What I hate the most in my life is a third party who destroys other people's families. This time, I just couldn't stand it anymore. That's why I stepped forward. Reporter, Zixuan, can you tell us about Miss Ning Xiaoluo's situation? She's pregnant now. Will this news affect her fetus in any way? Han Zixuan didn't answer directly. Instead, she said, I believe this is a fatal blow to any woman. I only hope that, for the sake of the child, someone will stop before going too far and stop hurting innocent people. Zixian, Han Zixuan, did not continue to answer the latter questions and quickly entered the banquet hall under the escort of the bodyguards. Ying Yu followed closely behind Han Zixuan and stood not far away. She quietly watched as Han Zixuan was surrounded by a crowd of reporters. She listened to her righteous words and sneered in her heart. Heh, continue to pretend. I'm afraid you won't pretend anymore. Chapter 2012. As soon as Han Zixuan entered the banquet hall, she was immediately surrounded by a large circle of artistes who chatted with her warmly and warmly. After all, everyone knew that once Ningxi fell, the entertainment industry would become Han Zixuan's again. Zixuan, what you've done this time is simply too satisfying. I knew that Ningxi was not a decent person, but she's even more disgusting than we thought. If Zixuan hadn't stood up for us, who knows how long we would have been deceived by her. Han Zixuan was surrounded by a group of people talking at once. Facing everyone's compliments, she said with an aloof expression, everyone has their own ambitions. There's nothing that some people won't do in order to climb up. But what others do has nothing to do with me. I have my own principles and bottom line. Zixuan, how can you compare with that kind of person? No matter how high she climbs, she will be despised by others if she climbs up by such dirty means. The culture of the entertainment industry is led astray by her. Just then, a young artiste looked around and said excitedly, by the way, I heard that Ningxi is also on the invitation list for tonight's charity banquet. Why haven't I seen her? The people next to him immediately sneered. How dare she show up after such a scandal? Isn't she afraid of being drowned by everyone's saliva? She must be hiding at home and not daring to show up. Besides, our Zixuan is also here today. She must be hiding far away. While they were mocking each other, there was a sudden uproar at the entrance of the banquet hall. Everyone subconsciously looked in the direction of the entrance. In the next second, a stunning figure appeared under the flashes of the media. When the people around Han Zixuan saw the figure, they couldn't help but gasp. Ningxi, who was wearing a black evening gown, stood alone on the red carpet. Her flawless face attracted everyone's attention. Countless cameras were fixed on her at this moment. greedily capturing the alluring beauty of her every movement. The pure black set off her stunning face, like the black night sky set off thousands of stars, which was dazzling. To everyone's surprise, Xianxia was not absent. Instead, she arrived on time. She didn't even look as miserable and haggard as they had imagined. As soon as she appeared on the red carpet, she immediately won the hearts of all the female artists present. Han Zixuan looked at the reporters who were crazily taking photos of Xianxia. She looked at Xianxia's radiant face on the red carpet. Her eyes were filled with crazy jealousy. The female artistes around Han Zixuan took a long time to come back to their senses. Other than surprise, all of them had the same look in their eyes as Han Zixuan. Ning, it's actually Xianxia. Oh my god, it really was her. How could she still have the cheek to come? If it were me, I might as well just bang my head against the wall and die. Bitches are so shameless. Is there anything she can't do? Hearing the ridicule around her and thinking of Xianxia's future, Han Zixuan calmed down again. She watched calmly as Xianxia entered the venue and was immediately surrounded by a group of crazy reporters. Miss Xianxia, do you have any explanation for the recent news about you on the internet? As for what Miss Xianxia said, is it true that you have always admired Mr. Su and pestered him? Is it true that you and Mr. Su had a late-night tryst in the video? Did you really intervene in the marriage between Mr. Su and Miss Xianxia? Chapter 2013. Facing the ugly questions and the gloating eyes of the people around her, Xianxia remained calm. Today is a charity party, not my personal press conference. If you have any questions, I will answer them one by one after the meeting. Now, please don't disturb the order of the event. Thank you. Hearing Xianxia's answer, the people around were inevitably disappointed. However, Xianxia's answer was watertight and the reporters couldn't refute it, so they had to be patient for the time being. Anyway, Xianxia had promised to be interviewed after the event and give them an explanation. This time, they finally got Xianxia, and they would never let go of this opportunity. Seeing that Xianxia actually dodged the question, the women around Han Zixuan sneered in a low voice. She's still so stubborn. I like to see what she will say after the event is over. The evidence is irrefutable. She can't change the fact that she is a mistress who ruined a family and bullied a pregnant woman. Good evening, distinguished guests. The annual charity dinner now officially begins. Next, it's the auction that everyone is most looking forward to. Then, with the host's opening remarks, the auction of the charity dinner soon began. In the past, this was the most lively part of the event, but today, everyone's attention was focused on one person. In the first row, Xianxia listened attentively to the auctioneer's explanation. From time to time, she discussed with the agent next to her and occasionally raised a sign to bid. She was so calm that she didn't look like someone who had just been involved in such a big storm and would be banned from the entertainment industry after tonight. In the corner, Han Zixuan glanced at Xianxia from the corner of her eyes and frowned slightly. Does she have a backup plan? Otherwise, how could she be so calm at this time? Zhang Anru sneered and said, "How is that possible?" Xianxia said these words herself, and there's a video as evidence. If she really had a way, she would have jumped out long ago. Why would she wait until now? In my experience, her appearance today is Su Tao's last move. Su Tao must not have given up and wants to test the media's reaction. It's whimsical. Does she really think that she, a small agent, can reverse the situation? Cheating, taking drugs, and being involved in politics, as long as you are involved in any of these three things, you will die. There is absolutely no chance for you to make a comeback. Zixuan, don't worry. When Han Zixuan heard this, the corners of her mouth curled up in disdain. There was nothing for her to worry about. Even if she had to worry about what would happen next, it would be Xianxia's problem. The reason why Xianxia looked so indifferent was probably that Su Yin had promised her something in private. She probably hoped that if she couldn't survive in the entertainment industry, she would go to Su Yin. Now that this matter had been exposed, her reputation was completely ruined and she could no longer stay in the entertainment industry. Even if Su Yin was head over heels for her, Would the Su family allow her to marry into the family? Moreover, Ning Xiula was there too. The Su family and Ning Xiula would not let her go even if she did nothing. At this moment, Yin Yuyu was sitting quietly beside Han Zixuan. She agreed with Zheng Anru's words. Zixuan, sister Enru is right. Ningxi is doomed this time. Then, it's your turn, Han Zixuan. She really couldn't wait to see the scene of Ning Shi and Han Zixuan tearing each other apart. Chapter 2014. It was only a short 2-hour auction, but everyone at the scene felt as if a day had passed like a year. In the end, even the auctioneer himself was a little absent-minded. The 3 confirmations became shorter and shorter, faster and faster, and he didn't even raise the price. Number 39, 5 million going once. Number 39, 5 million going twice. Number 39, 5 million going thrice. Sold. With a bang. Almost everyone breathed a sigh of relief when the auction gavel fell. The last auction item of the night was finally sold, and this charity evening finally came to an end. Today's charity evening has come to a successful end. Thank you all for your contributions to charity. All the money from this auction will be used to help children with leukemia. Thank you. Thank you. With the host concluding remarks, there was a burst of applause. However, after the applause, none of the guest journalists on the scene got up and left. Everyone looked in a certain direction with burning eyes. Han Zixuan wasn't in a hurry. She calmly watched from the side with the cold eyes of a bystander. She wanted to see clearly how the arrogant national goddess, the most popular female star, left the entertainment circle in disgrace in front of her. After the auction, before Ning Shi stood up, the journalists who had been waiting for a long time couldn't wait to swarm up, as if they were afraid that Ning Shi would run away. Miss Ning Shi, can you answer our questions now? Ning Shi, do you want to take this opportunity to clear your name by attending the charity evening today? Do you still want to stay in the entertainment circle after such a thing happened? You haven't said anything since it happened. Don't you have anything to say to the victim, Miss Ning Xiuelua, and the fans who have been defending you? Even to your opponent, Miss Han Zixuan, your unfair competition is an insult to her. Ning Shi looked coldly at the scene in front of her, and the corners of her mouth inadvertently curved into a sneer. Han Zixuan had been waiting for Ning Shi to have nothing to say and slap herself in the face. Ning Shi's silence at this moment made her feel that Ning Shi's calmness was a forced facade. Han Zixuan narrowed her eyes, and a vicious gleam flashed across her eyes. When no one could get an answer from Ning Shi, she suddenly said, Ning Shi, you just said that you would give everyone an answer after the event. I hope you can keep your promise and apologize to those who have been hurt. Since I've already interfered in this matter, I'll get involved to the end. Han Zixuan's voice was loud enough for everyone present to hear her clearly. Many people on the scene nodded in agreement. That's right. She's a reputable person in the entertainment industry. How could she not give an explanation after doing such a thing? That's too irresponsible. This kind of person doesn't even care about the most basic morality of being a human. What kind of responsibility do you expect her to take? No matter how good her acting skills are, her character is too bad. She is far worse than Han Zixuan on this point. I can only say that she was too good at pretending before. Now, she can't pretend anymore, and Eva doesn't care about her face. After all, even if she can't stay in the entertainment circle, she can continue to fight for the position of the eldest young mistress of the Su family. Chapter 2015. Seeing Ning Shi being despised and shameful by everyone, Han Zixuan's resentment for the past few days was finally vented. When she looked at Ning Shi, she pretended to be disappointed and sighed. Ning Shi, I respect you as a senior. I didn't want to do this, but I didn't expect that even now you are still unwilling to face it and give everyone an explanation. Don't you think it's wrong for you to destroy other people's families and seduce a married man? It makes me sick to stand in the same hall with a third party like you. Han Zixuan stood on the moral high ground under the banner of seeking justice for Ning Xiula. Every word she said was powerful. Even if her words were harsh, no one would think that there was anything wrong with it. Instead, many people agreed with her. Ningxi still sat in the same place, supporting her head with one hand. Looking at Han Zixuan's indignant and righteous posture, she suddenly raised the corners of her mouth into an intriguing smile. Her slightly raised eyes flashed with a touch of pity. You want an explanation? Then I'll give you an explanation. After Ningxi finished speaking, she turned her head and glanced at Su Tao next to her. Su Tao had long been anxious to the point of scratching his heart and lungs. Now that he had finally received the queen's instructions, he immediately flew up to the stage like a sparrow that had been released from its cage. Seeing Su Tao suddenly walk to the stage, everyone whispered to each other with a suspicious look. What trick does Su Tao want to play this time? Su Tao is the best at brainwashing his fans. Is he going to play the emotional card and say that Ningxi and Su Yin love each other? That's disgusting. Isn't he going to be a prostitute? Maybe he will directly announce his retirement from the entertainment industry. Below the stage, Han Zixuan and Zheng Anru watched Su Tao walk to the stage coldly. At the same time, all the reporters also pointed their cameras at Su Tao. Just then, Su Tao said something to the host and then walked to the projector and fiddled with it for a while. Not long after, the big screen on the stage that had been turned off suddenly lit up again. Without any buffer, without warning, a huge, indescribable, and extremely explosive video rushed into everyone's eyes, catching them off guard. Faster, deeper, deeper. Mr. E, you're the best. I want more. Cough, cough, cough. A reporter who was drinking water directly sprayed the back of the head of a reporter in front of him. Some female artists were so shocked that they dropped the small mirror in their hands. The host, who was watching the gossip on the side of the stage, was so shocked that his eyeballs almost popped out. Oh my God, it was simply unsightly. What was Su Tao doing? Is he crazy? Did I take the wrong USB flash drive? Su Tao's taste was a little heavy. You actually like such a slutty girl. Just as everyone was sneering with disdain, no one noticed that in the corner, Han Zixuan felt as though she had been struck by lightning. She stood there in a daze. As the ambiguous moans grew louder and louder, Han Zixuan's face quickly turned pale. The thick foundation on her cheeks could no longer hide her pale, almost green face. How could this be? Stop. Hurry up and stop. Han Zixuan's heart was filled with crazed roars, but when everyone was looking down on the man and woman in the video, it was as if all the blood in her body had frozen. A chill seeped out from the soles of her feet, almost freezing her limbs. She couldn't even make a sound. Turn it off. Hurry up and turn it off. However, the heavens didn't hear Han Zixuan's inner roar. In the next second, the camera on the big screen suddenly switched, and an extremely familiar face suddenly appeared in the video. Wearing sexy black lingerie, with big wavy hair and an expression of enjoyment on her face. It was Han Zixuan herself, and the man in the video was also recognized by everyone. It was the former general manager of Xianxia Entertainment, Yi Sudong. Chapter 2016. On the big screen, when her face appeared clearly in front of everyone, Han Zixian's heart, which was suspended in the air, fiercely pounded on the ground. Her body shook violently, and her frightened face suddenly became blank. Other than the man's heavy breathing and the woman's moans, the conversation between the two was also unbearable, which made everyone's jaws drop. Faster, faster, don't stop. Mr. E, you're the best. Little bitch. Why are you so slutty? HM? Then do you like me like this? Of course I like it. Then do you like me more? Or do you like your wife more? How can that fat woman compare to you? Don't mention that disgusting woman at this time. On the big screen, the video continued. The scale of the two in the video was comparable to that of a micro, which made everyone's jaw drop. No one would have thought that Han Zixuan, who had always walked the path of a cold goddess, would be so unbearably slutty in bed. Below the stage, everyone who had just recovered from the shock looked at each other, dumbfounded. Oh my God, am I seeing things? The person in the video, Is it Han Zixuan? It's Han Zixuan and Yi Sudong, and they're doing it directly in Yi Sudong's office. Doesn't Yi Sudong have a wife? Not only does he have a wife, his child is old enough to buy soy sauce. Oh my God, I can't keep up with this anymore. What's going on? At this moment, the image changed and switched to another video. The scale of this video was no less than the previous one. The previous video was in the office, but this one was in the nanny car. The camera first flashed past the license plate number, then focused on the car. There was no one around, and the two took off each other's clothes while kissing, then climbed into the car together. Soon, the car began to shake up and down. In the car, Han Zixuan's upper body was naked, and her lower body was pressed by Yi Sudong. The two's voices and conversation could be vaguely heard from the speaker. Sudong, don't do this. What if someone sees us? Let's go to the hotel. What are you afraid of? Even if it was photographed, who would dare to expose me? Yi Sudong's eyes were cloudy with lust. He pinched Han Zixuan's slender waist and said in a rough voice, "Little bitch, let's change positions." Han Zixuan twisted her body like a water snake and said angrily, "No, you can't even do what you promised me. You said that I would debut this month?" Yi Sudong said proudly, "Ha debut? You're underestimating me. That woman, Lin Jiji, is too ignorant and always goes against me. When I drive her out of the company, all the resources in Ningxi's hands will be yours. From now on, you'll be the most popular girl in our entertainment." "Really?" Han Zixuan's eyes suddenly lit up, and her eyes were full of naked ambition. "Of course. You are so beautiful. You can totally imitate Ningxi and walk the same path as her. At that time, all her resources will be transferred to you." After the two videos were played, the big screen returned to darkness. The scene was dead silent. Not a sound could be heard. The sudden revelations, each more explosive than the last, smashed everyone until they were dizzy and disoriented. Han Zixuan felt as if she had fallen into an ice cave. Her entire body was cold, and an unprecedented despair engulfed her like a swamp. Her mind was blank. It was impossible. It was impossible. How did things turn out like this? It was over. This time, she was really done for. Under the stage, Ningxi glanced at Han Zixuan indifferently. Her languid eyes were filled with cold ice, and she said darkly, "Han Zixuan, are you satisfied with this explanation?" Chapter 2017. Before the previous wave subsided, another wave arose. No one had expected Su Tao to release something 100 times more explosive than what Han Zixuan had revealed. Even more unexpected was that in just a few minutes, Han Zixuan was stripped naked right after she finished speaking. Her secret was completely exposed to the public. After Ningxi retired, she replaced her position at the speed of light. She had been selling herself as the one and only and flaunting herself as the clean stream of the entertainment industry. The inspirational goddess Han Zixuan's real history was so brilliant that it was comparable to a melodramatic blockbuster. Today's trip was really worth it. It's an eye-opener. Yi Sudong has a wife. Han Zixuan is better than anyone else when it comes to selling her body and being a mistress. She can even fight for justice for Ning Xiuelaw with a righteous attitude. The funniest thing is that she said she hates mistresses who destroy other people's families the most. So she deliberately imitated Ning Xi and snatched Ning Xi's resources. She used Ning Xi as a stepping stone to get to the top. She even said that she's one and only and that she doesn't want to be mentioned in the same breath as Ning Xi. I've really learned something today. There's always a taller mountain. Her skin is as thick as a city wall. Who said that Han Zixuan's acting isn't as good as Ning Xi's? Han Zixuan is the real best actress in the entertainment industry. At the same time, all the reporters left Ning Xi's side and pounced on Han Zixuan. "Miss Han Zixuan, is that you in the video? May I ask if you really seduced your married boss and used the unspoken rules to get to the top? Do you know that Yi Sudong already has a wife? You claim to be righteous, but you're doing what you say is shameful. What do you have to say about that? All the questions that were thrown at Ningxi earlier were now thrown back at Han Zixuan. Han Zixuan bit her lips hard. Her eyes were filled with madness and malice. She looked at Ningxi as if she wanted to skin her alive. She took a deep breath and used all her strength to force herself to calm down. She said with a clear conscience, "I don't know what you're talking about. The woman in the video isn't me." Zhang Anru hurriedly added, "Where did you find such a lowly 3 movie? How dare you impersonate our Zixuan? Ningxi, I'm going to sue you for defamation and infringement of reputation. Do you think you can clear your name by defaming Zixuan? You can't change the fact that you're filthy and lowly." Su Tao seemed to have expected that. He sneered and said, "Well, the video clearly shows that Han Zixuan and Yi Sudong had sex with each other in the office of Xianxia Entertainment and in Han Zixuan's nanny car. Fingerprints are required to enter Xianxia Entertainment, not to mention Han Zixuan's private nanny car. How could they have impersonated her? Why don't you try impersonating one?" As Su Tao said that, several clear screenshots appeared on the big screen. One was Yi Sudong's office, the other was the license plate number of the nanny car, and the picture of Han Zixuan opening the door with the car key. The clear evidence once again ruthlessly slapped the two of them in the face. At this moment, everyone was looking at the two of them with extreme disdain. Chapter 2018. Fuck, she's still pretending at a time like this. She's refreshing my offline page. A shameless person is invincible. I even spoke up for her just now, saying that she's righteous. I'm so blind. Han Zixuan, get out of the entertainment industry. Han Zixuan, get out of the entertainment industry. Han Zixuan's acting was perfect, but now everyone was as angry and shocked as they were. They sneered and mocked her, shouted at her to get out of the entertainment industry, and aimed their microphones and flashes at her. Han Zixuan's hair was messy, her delicate makeup was ruined, her luxurious gown was crumpled, and one of her high heels had fallen off. She kept repeating, "It wasn't me, it wasn't me, stop squeezing, stop squeezing. Security, where's the security? I'm going to call the police if you keep this up." Ah! Zhang Anru screamed as a bottle of mineral water was smashed on her head. The whole scene was in chaos. It was the age of the internet. It wasn't like the past, where the public would only know about the big news the next day when a newspaper office had to work overtime to print it. All the major media outlets had already posted what was happening on the internet, and they had even live-streamed the whole thing in real time. Everything that had happened just now, including the video of Han Zixuan and Yi Sudong on the big screen, as well as the scene of Han Zixuan appearing with disheveled hair and getting beaten up by everyone, quickly spread to every corner and caused a huge uproar on the internet. In the luxurious bedroom of the Su family's house, Ning Xuelua's dark face reflected the dim light from the laptop, and her eyes were filled with malice. Useless thing. She had already handed the knife to Han Zixuan, but she still messed things up. Ningxi had gotten hold of such an important weakness of hers, and she didn't even know about it before this. What a waste. Ning Xuelua's phone suddenly rang. The caller ID showed that it was Zhang Anru. Ning Xuelua glanced at it from the corner of her eyes and pressed the reject button without hesitation. Han Zixuan was definitely done for if such a video was released. There was no point in keeping this kind of waste. She had achieved her goal anyway. Ning Xuelua took a deep breath, picked up her phone, and dialed a number. She sounded extremely displeased. "Did I spend money just to let you watch the show? Don't forget your mission today. No matter what happens, we can't let Ningxi get away with this." Yes, President Ning, don't worry. Ningxi can't run away. Just wait and see. That better be the case. At the charity banquet, while Han Zixuan and Zhang Anru were shouting at each other, a voice suddenly rang out from the crowd. "Hell, what a dog-eat-dog scene. Ningxi, is this the explanation you vowed to give us? Even if Han Zixuan committed murder and arson, what does that have to do with you? Does that change the fact that you seduced Su Yin and forced Ningxue, a pregnant woman? Reminded by the tall reporter, the indignant onlookers immediately turned their attention to Ning, she who was sitting on the table. Exactly. What was this? Divert my attention? Are you treating us like fools? This kind of person is not worthy of sympathy. She deserves to have her fans and resources stolen by Han Zixuan. I think she's even more vicious than Han Zixuan. She wouldn't even let a pregnant woman off. When she was discovered, she didn't apologize or give an explanation to the public. Instead, she was in a hurry to drag someone else down with her. Her character is really amazing. Chapter 2019. The tall reporter said indignantly, Ning Shueluo is so unlucky. She got involved in the quarrel between these two bitches. This immediately aroused many people's agreement. I'm getting more and more disappointed with this circle. All the innocent and kind people are gone, but the unscrupulous and shameless bitches can live well. Bitches, get out of the entertainment circle. In the banquet hall, the artists were shouting and cursing incessantly. All the exits were blocked. The indignant media also surrounded Ning Shi and Su Tao to denounce them. Amidst the chaotic crowd, Yin Yu quietly hid among the agitated crowd. Everything went so smoothly, exactly as she had expected. Her palms were hot, and her body was trembling with excitement. It was over. Han Zixuan was over. Ning, she was over. She no longer had to look at Han Zixuan's face. She no longer had to fight for Zixuan's money. At that time, she would have the top resources in the entire entertainment circle. It was even possible for her to replace Ning Shi and get the killer. After all, in the entire entertainment circle, without Han Zixuan and Ning Shi, she would be the most popular. She couldn't wait to find Su Tao after all this was over. She even began to think of a blueprint for the future. While the reporters besieged Ning Shi, Han Zixuan hid in the corner with messy clothes and dirty hair. She stared straight at Ning Shi and suddenly laughed in a low voice. She seemed to have thought of something. She looked like a madman. Ha ha ha! Ning Shi, why can you do it? But I can't. How much nobler are you than me? You seduced a married man and used the unspoken rules to get to the top. Don't pretend to be pretentious in front of me. Even if you slander me to death, you won't get away with it. You won't get away with it even if I die. At this moment, the banquet hall was completely out of control. The onlookers were broadcasting the scene live on their mobile phones. The professional cameras of the media reporters also synchronized the high-definition images directly to major media or live video websites. All the related live broadcast rooms were full of people. Apart from the media at the scene, the comments in the live stream were also filled with vulgar words and curses. Under the pressure of public opinion, which could almost drive a person crazy on the spot, Han Zixuan was already in a difficult position and was in a trance. As for Ning Shi, she wore a long black dress, and her black hair was like a cloud. Her cold eyes didn't have a trace of emotion. From the beginning to the end, she maintained a sitting posture on her seat. Seeing that Ning, she was pretending to be calm. The tall reporter was full of complacency. He looked even angrier and shouted to the crowd. As media reporters, it's our duty to restore the truth for the public and seek justice for the weak. I can't let this matter go like this. Ning Shi, it's not that easy to divert your attention. If you don't give us a satisfactory explanation today, we will not let this matter rest. His words immediately incited a large number of people. That's right. It definitely couldn't end here. Ning Shi, apologize to the public. Apologize to the innocent victims. Apologize. Apologize. The tall reporter continued. If an apology works, why do we need the police? Not only should he apologize publicly, but he should also be banned forever. Just as the tall reporter was getting more and more excited, Ning Shi's slightly cold eyes suddenly fell on his face from her seat. Chapter 2020. That gaze seemed to be light and powerless, but it felt like an ice blade was pressed against his throat. In the next second, blood was sealed. An extremely dangerous chill suddenly seeped into his body. causing him to be unable to utter a single word. When the reporter came to his senses, he found that his vest was wet with sweat. Damn it. She was just an actress who sold her body to get a position. What was there to be afraid of? The next second, Xianxia had already moved her eyes away from the reporter and coldly looked at the live camera in front of her. The cameraman immediately held his breath and steadily held the camera. The other cameras and other people's mobile phones also aimed at Xianxia. Xianxia stared at the camera. Her terrifying gaze was not at the cameraman, but someone through the camera. At this moment, Xianxia was waiting to see Xiaxia's damn calmness completely torn apart, to see her fall into the mud and be doomed eternally. However, when she suddenly met Xiaxia's gaze on the screen, her back stiffened and she couldn't help but feel a chill crawling up her back. "As you wish." Xianxia looked at the camera and said 4 words. The moment her voice fell, a conversation suddenly sounded from the speakers in the banquet hall. "Xiaoxi, sister, it's not me. I don't know why he is here. I deliberately waited here, because I really don't know how to see you. What's the matter? Can I talk to you alone? Sister, Xianxia, it's none of your business. Wait for me here." Because it was night, the picture on the big screen was very dim. Only 3 figures could be vaguely seen: a woman, a teenager, and a slightly tall man. The woman's voice was obviously Xiaxia's, and the one who called Xiaxia's sister seemed to be her younger brother, Tang Nua. Then who was the other person? Say it. It was Xiaxia's voice. The man said, "Xiaoxi, let's start over, okay?" Just as they were feeling suspicious, the crowd heard the man's words, and there was an uproar. Start over? Xianxia actually revealed her own gossip. Just when everyone was confused, the man continued to say, "Xiaoxi, I know what I said may sound ridiculous to you." Xiaxia's tone was extremely cold. "Isn't it? Listen to me. I've thought about it for a very, very long time. This isn't something I said to you on a whim. I really, really regret it. I finally understood who the person I truly liked and loved was. Xiaoxi, what happened that year was my fault. I was the one who betrayed the feelings between us. But at the beginning, I really never thought of leaving you until I met Shuai Luo. Shuai Luo's character was too pure and weak, and after such a sudden misfortune, she often complained to me. I also don't know when it started, this kind of feeling changed. Hearing this, everyone finally knew who the speaker was. The man who spoke was actually Su Yin. But Su Yin actually said that he had abandoned his relationship with Xianxia first. What the hell was going on? The voice from the speaker continued. Su Yin, until later, I had sex with Shuai Luo in a moment of impulse. I kept hiding it from you because I really didn't know how to face you. Chapter 2021. But it wasn't until later that I realized that all I cared about was Shuai. I never thought about your feelings. You left your hometown for me, but I left you alone. After that, Su Yin kept confessing, saying that he had wronged Xianxia and that he didn't want to continue deceiving his feelings. After listening to this, everyone was stunned. Oh my God, could it be? Could it be that Su Yin's first girlfriend was Xianxia? But he betrayed Xianxia and slept with Xianxia, even forcing Xianxia to leave the country? But now, Su Yin regretted it. He wanted to get Xianxia back and pestered her. From his tone, it could be heard that Xianxia didn't want to see him at all. He had used Xiaxia's brother to meet her. The so-called first wife was actually the mistress, and the one who was mistaken as the mistress was the real one. This reversal was like a head-on blow. Everyone was dumbfounded. Su Yin said, I know I don't have the right to say this to you in my current situation, and I definitely don't mean to insult you. I will regain my freedom. In the end, Xiaxia's emotionless face flashed under the cool moonlight, and the girl's cold voice came through the speaker. Su Yin, some things are like a cotton-padded jacket in summer and a fan in winter. And when a person is disheartened, he will change his mind. As soon as she finished, there was a dead silence. One could hear a pin drop. Those aggressive media outlets just now all had their mouths wide open like idiots. They were flabbergasted, their faces pale, and they couldn't say a word. Especially the tall reporter who had been the loudest and asked Ning Shi to apologize to Ning Xiuelua. At this moment, he looked like he had eaten shit. How? How could this be? Let me calm down. My mind is in a mess now. Everyone looked at each other in a daze. At this time, someone said, "What else is there to be confused about?" Su Yin has already made it very clear. He was Ning Shi's boyfriend, and she came to the capital because of him. In the end, Su Yin met Ning Xiuelua. Ning Xiuelua often pretended to be weak and pitiful in front of him, so Su Yin cheated on Ning Xiuelua and had sex with her. He betrayed Ning Shi, and Ning Shi went abroad in despair. A few years later, Shi came back and started a new life in the entertainment industry. Fuck, this adulterous couple was simply not human, especially Ning Xiuelua. Not only did she kidnap Ning Shi's parents, she even wanted to kidnap Ning Shi's boyfriend, forcing Ning Shi to leave her hometown. Ning Shi had finally recovered from her injury and returned to China to start a new life, but she had been suppressed by her in all kinds of ways. She had such good acting skills and talent, but she had been forced to play a minor role for more than a year. In the end, Ning Xiuelua even accused Ning Shi of hurting someone on purpose and had Starlight blacklist her. Luckily, Golden Era cleared her name, and Ning Shi slowly recovered after Golden Era. What's worse is that Ning Shi worked so hard to get to where she is today. She even experienced life and death to return to her peak. Ning Xiuelua, on the other hand, relied on Ning Shi's family background and Ning Shi's man to become a phoenix, a mistress to a rich wife. She had everything, but she still refused to let Ning Shi go. She pretended to distort the truth in front of Han Zixuan, saying that it was Ning Shi who wouldn't let Su Yin go. She almost made us all misunderstand Ning Shi. Chapter 2022. Everyone was dumbfounded at first, but they gradually came back to their senses and began to analyze everything that had happened to them one by one. It would have been better if they hadn't analyzed it, but after thinking about it carefully, they were terrified. Damn it, I really thought Ning Xiuelua was innocent. Now that I think about it, she's just a scheming bitch. What kind of inspirational goddess was she? She clearly snatched everything she had from Ning Shi, didn't she? Without the Ning family, how could she survive in the entertainment circle? If she hadn't hooked up with Su Yin, which rich family would marry a wild chicken? Han Zixuan and Ning Xiuelua. No wonder they are so close. Birds of a feather flock together. Ning Shi is so fucked. She was swapped at a young age. She was the daughter of a wealthy family and was forced to live among the common people. She was forced to return home. When she finally thought that she had met her true love, she was betrayed by both of them. They were supposed to be the people she loved the most, but they hurt her badly. But Ning Shi has never used her family background or personal affairs to gain sympathy. Instead, she has relied on her own strength to get to where she is today without saying a word. On the contrary, it's not enough for someone to steal her parents and boyfriend. She also forced her into a dead end. She's already pregnant, but she doesn't know how to do some good for the child in her belly. At this moment, Ning Xiuelua stared at the live broadcast on the laptop, and her innocent little face was completely twisted. Xiaoxi, I regret it. I finally understand who I really like and love. Xiaoxi, I have been deceiving myself for too long. I don't want to continue deceiving myself. I will give you a title, I will marry you, and I will handle everything. You will still be Mrs. Su. Everything between us will start over again. Su Yan's words and the discussion of the media and onlookers made Ning Xiuelua's body tremble violently. Her sharp nails pinched the flesh of her palm, and bright red blood dripped to the floor. What a mistress! She was the one Su Yan liked and loved. Ning Shi was the mistress who ruined their marriage. Ning Shi was the shameless bitch who stole her man. Now, the whole world knew that Ning Xiuelua's man pestered Ning Shi and even wanted to divorce her for Ning Shi. This humiliation was driving her crazy. Ning Shi, how dare you? I want you dead. I want you to die a horrible death. In the hall of the charity gala, the reporters surrounded Ning Shi once again. Miss Ning Shi, how did Ning Xiuelua intervene between you and Su Yan? What was the specific situation? Can you tell me about it? Ning Shi, I can tell from their conversation that Su Yin has regretted it and even wants to divorce for you. Will you get back together with him? Ning Shi, Xing Hui has been trying to recruit you. Will you choose to leave? After all, putting aside all personal factors, Starshine's strength is more beneficial to your career, isn't it? Ning Shi didn't answer the personal questions. She glanced at everyone and said, since the media and colleagues are all here today, please be my witnesses. Hearing Ning Shi's words, the media and the surrounding artists held their breath, waiting for her next words. Ning Shi paused and looked in the direction of the camera. I, Ning Shi, swear today that I will be a member of Golden Era in life and a ghost of Golden Era in death. As long as I'm in the entertainment industry, I'll never leave Golden Era. I'll live and die with them. Chapter 2023. Live and die with Golden Era, advance and retreat with them. This short sentence set off a huge wave in everyone's hearts. Moreover, this sentence was equivalent to directly rejecting Su Yin, indicating that he would never be with Su Yin. The livestream room was flooded with messages. Awesome, my brother Shi. Live and die together. Advance and retreat together. Brother, Shi is really domineering. He has always been vilified, but he has never been defeated. I have no regrets in this life. I only love brother Shi. As for Su Tao, who was next to Ning Shi, he was so touched that he almost cried when he heard his queen's words. At this moment, a certain Koi that was watching the live broadcast was also on the verge of tears. He automatically substituted Ning Shi's golden age into his brother's name. In the end, his face was covered in blood because of this show of affection. In life, he belonged to his brother, but in death, he belonged to his brother's ghost. Roar. After Ning Shi finished speaking, she nodded to the crowd and then got up to leave. Everyone automatically made way for her, sending her off with their eyes. No matter what kind of suffering and slander she faced, she would always leave everyone with her strong side. Such a girl, what kind of man would be able to match her? In the crowd, Han Zixuan had already fallen to the ground with a sluggish expression. She had never expected the truth to be like this. She was the only one who was doomed to eternal damnation. From now on, Ning Shi would be an existence that she could only look up to. Yin Yu, who was hiding in the corner, was completely dumbfounded. Her face was pale and filled with disbelief. How could this be? How could this be? Didn't Su Tao say that they had no way to clear Ning Shi's name? Why did things turn out like this in the end? Although Han Zixuan was finished, Ning Shi was not driven out of the entertainment circle. Instead, she became even more popular. What about her? What was she going to do now? Han Zixuan and Zheng Anru must have guessed that she was the one who did it. Xing Hui would never let her off. In the parking lot, Su Tao pounced on Liang Feixing, who was watching from the nanny van. Liang Zi, did you hear that? Do you hear me? Her Majesty the Queen said that she would live and die with me, advance and retreat with me. The corner of Liang Feixing's mouth twitched as he pushed her away. Brother, you think too highly of yourself. The lady boss's words were clearly meant for the boss to hear. Okay? Su Tao was slapped, but he didn't care at all. He was still immersed in joy. Thanks to the paparazzi this time. If they hadn't meddled in other people's business and tried to dig up Ning Shi's dirt, we wouldn't have gotten this video. These paparazzi followed Ning Shi all the way to Capital University and recorded the conversation between Ning Shi and Su Yin, but they were discovered in time by Ning Shi's bodyguards in the dark, who stopped them. Who would have thought that this thing would come in handy later on? Ning Shi had never liked to involve her personal affairs in her work, but this time it concerned the reputation of Golden Era. She volunteered to use the recording without hesitation. Your Majesty, be careful. Su Tao opened the door for Ning Shi. Just as he was about to get into the car, he suddenly heard hurried footsteps behind him. Brother Tao, wait. It was Yin Yu who caught up to them, panting heavily. Su Tao raised his brows. It's Yu. What's the matter? Yin Yu's eyes were filled with anger, but she could only suppress it. Brother Tao, I have something to talk to you about. Sure. Su Tao agreed without hesitation. He then told Ning Shi and Liang Feixing to leave first. Ning Shi glanced out the car window and frowned. Liang Feixing drove away without a care in the world. Don't worry, lady boss. Yin Yu is no match for that old fox, Su Tao. Chapter 2024. Su Tao poured himself a cup of tea. The Westlake Longjing here is pretty good. Yin Yu was not in the mood to enjoy her tea. Her phone had been ringing nonstop. The first one to call was Han Zixuan, followed by Zheng Anru, then her manager, and finally Wang Haojun himself. Yin Yu did not dare to pick up any of the calls, nor did she dare to hang up. She could only mute her phone with a pale face and stare at the screen that kept flickering. Su Tao naturally noticed Yin Yu's incessant calls as well. He said with a considerate expression, You seem to be very busy. Why don't we meet another day? Yin Yu calmed down a little when she heard Su Tao's voice. She stared at Su Tao excitedly and said, Brother Tao, didn't you say that Golden Era could not solve Ningxi's problem? Su Tao took a sip of his tea and sighed. It's indeed troublesome. We were lucky this time. Fortunately, we managed to get some evidence from a paparazzi that could prove Ningxi's innocence. When Yin Yu heard this, she revealed a suspicious expression. She felt that something was wrong, but she was too distracted to think too much about it at the moment. Damn it, all of Golden Era's resources were supposed to belong to her once Ningxi fell. Who knew that she would be suppressed by Han Zixuan instead of Ningxi? But no matter what, she only had Su Tao as her last resort. If Su Tao dared to leave her alone after he had Ningxi, then she, Yin Yu, was not a person to be trifled with. Yin Yu took a deep breath and suppressed the irritation in her heart. Brother Tao, when are you going to sign me back to Golden Era? Su Tao was surprised when he heard that. He pretended to look around frantically and said in a low voice, What? Sign you back to Golden Era? You can't just say that. You're doing well in Starlight now. Why would you suddenly have such an idea? Yin Yu's eyebrows twitched. She was stunned by Su Tao's question. Su Tao, what do you mean? Su Tao shrugged innocently. I really don't know why you would suddenly say something like that. Yin Yu couldn't believe it. She slammed the table and stood up. Su Tao, you instigated me to help you take down Han Zixuan, and now you want to renege on your promise after using me? In contrast to Yin Yu's rage, Su Tao leisurely sat on the chair opposite her and continued to pretend to be a big shot. You helped me take down Han Zixuan? Why is it that I don't understand what you're saying? Yin Yu was so angry that she almost died. At the same time, she finally understood everything. Su Tao, you know that I have something on Han Zixuan, so you misled me and made me think that Ningxi is really going to leave the entertainment industry. Then, you told me that you would sign me back to Golden Era and give me all of Ningxi's resources as long as I get Han Zixuan down. Now that I've sent you Han Zixuan's video and helped you get rid of her, you're turning your back on me. You mean you're the one who sent those anonymous videos to me? Su Tao was surprised. With this kind of acting skills, it would be enough to enter the entertainment industry. Su Tao, you're still pretending to me even now. I'm telling you, if you push me too hard, I'll let everyone know your true colors. Yin Yu roared. Chapter 2025. Su Tao leaned against the back of his chair with one hand on the armrest. He chuckled. I was in a bad mood that day, so I chatted with you casually. I really didn't expect you to have so much in your head. I didn't expect you to have something on Han Zixuan. You even sent it to me. Sigh. Why are you so muddle-headed? Don't you know that you'll be finished once this thing is exposed? Nonsense. Of course she knew. It was all because she thought that Ningxi was doomed this time, and Su Tao had promised to sign her back to Golden Era. At this moment, Yin Yu finally understood that she'd completely fallen into Su Tao's trap, and she'd fallen into this old fox's trap. Yin Yu's eyes were filled with viciousness. Su Tao, if I'm banned, you won't be able to continue in this industry. What if Golden Era and Ningxi find out that you secretly met me, an artist from Starlight, and try to poach me? What would they think? Su Tao shook his head with a pained expression. Sigh, the morals of the world are degenerating day by day. Why are the girls nowadays so scheming? All right, I forgot to tell you that I accidentally recorded our conversation when I was chatting with you that day. After saying that, Su Tao unlocked his phone and pressed the play button. The conversation between the two could be heard from the phone. Yin Yu listened from the beginning to the end, and her face turned paler the more she listened. Su Tao, this scoundrel, was watertight with his words. From the beginning to the end, he did not leave out a single word that could be used against him. All he did was reminisce about the past, as though he was worried about her situation because of their past relationship. If this recording was released, it would not affect Su Tao at all, but would become the biggest evidence that she had deliberately sent Han Zixuan's video to Su Tao. Yin Yu fell into the chair behind her. She was in a daze. Su Tao, you're taking revenge on me, Su Tao chuckled. Heh, you're not important enough for me to put in so much effort. He was only doing this for his queen. Hearing Su Tao's words and thinking of how Su Tao had gone to great lengths for her in the past, Yin Yu suddenly broke down and cried loudly on the table. Big Brother Tao, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. I was blinded by greed. I was tricked by them. When Xing Hui poached me, they lied to me and said that they would make me equal to Han Zixuan. This time, Xing Hui definitely won't let me off. Please save me. Su Tao didn't say anything. He took one last look at the girl he brought up and turned to leave. Starlight Entertainment, conference room. Wang Haojuan's face darkened as he slammed the table. Yin Yu, did you give those videos to Su Tao? I gave it to you. What's wrong? Originally, everyone thought that Yin Yu would definitely deny it, but unexpectedly, Yin Yu didn't quibble at all. Bitch. Han Zixuan instantly pounced over and slapped Yin Yu's face. Yin Yu's fair little face was slapped to the side. Her face burned with pain, reminding Yin Yu of everything that had happened since she came to Xing Hui. She thought of how Han Zixuan had suppressed her, and she thought of the desperate situation she was in after giving the videos to Su Tao. She had nothing left. She had nothing left. If it wasn't for Han Zixuan's bullying, she wouldn't have been forced to this point. After a few seconds of silence, Yin Yu instantly raised her head, raised her hand, and slapped back. Chapter 2026. Han Zixuan covered her face with her hands in disbelief. Her eyes were scarlet. Bitch, you hit me. Who do you think you are? How dare you hit me? Yin Yu sneered. Huh, Han Zixuan, I should be the one saying that. Who do you think you are? You are the cancer of the entertainment industry, Ningxi's substitute, the mistress that everyone wants to kill. Do you still think you're Starlight Entertainment's #1 sister? You shameless bitch. What right do you have to act like a tyrant over my head all day? I'm telling you, I've had enough. Yin Yu, I dare you to say that again. Who do you think you are? You're just a dog by my side. The two of them cursed at each other and eventually started fighting each other by pulling each other's hair. A few people surrounded them and finally pulled them apart. Shut up, all of you. Are you trying to rebel? Wang Haojuan was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. He had thought that after taking down Ningxi, Han Zixuan and Starlight Entertainment would be invincible and he would have nothing to worry about anymore. Who knew that things would develop to this point? It was fine that Ningxi was cleared, but Han Zixuan was also exposed to such a huge scandal. Because of those two videos, Han Zixuan was completely ruined. The pillar that had been built up with so many resources was smashed into pieces. There was no room for recovery at all. He could only watch as Starlight Entertainment's stock price plummeted. When he found out from Han Zixuan that those videos were given to Su Tao by his own artist, he wanted to kill someone. Yin Yu, do you know how much damage you've caused to the company? Do you still have any professional ethics in your eyes? Wang Haojuan vented his anger on Yin Yu. Facing Wang Haojuan's anger, Yin Yu sneered and said, when Han Zixuan's family was acting like a tyrant, why didn't the company think about the promise they made when they poached us? Why didn't they think about the losses we would suffer? It's up to you whether you want to ban me or freeze me. I've had enough of this industry anyway. Now, she finally understood how ridiculous it was for her to go back on her word and jump ship to Starlight Entertainment. If she had not betrayed Golden Era, she would not have ended up like this. At this moment, she finally regretted it. After seeing everything clearly, she finally realized the true meaning of the phrase, "A man who is never content is like a snake trying to swallow an elephant." But now, it was too late to say anything. Ingyu took a deep breath. Ignoring her agent's attempts to stop her, she slammed the door and left, cutting off Wang Haojuan's exasperated roars and Han Zixuan's curses. Late at night, Ning Xiuo was sent to the hospital because of a sudden pain in her abdomen. At this moment, both the Ning and Su families already knew what happened at the charity banquet. Zhuang Lingyu was shaking with anger. Zheng Minjun, Su Hongguang, you have taught your son well. If anything happens to Shui Luo, I will definitely not let you off. Zheng Minjun was originally a little guilty because Su Yin was going to divorce Ning Xiuo. Now that she heard Zhuang Lingyu scolding her precious son, she almost scolded her. She should be the one saying that. Zhuang Lingyu had taught her daughter well. What did Su Yin say wrong? If her daughter had not seduced Su Yin, would Su Yin have broken up with Ning Shi? If Ning Xiuo had not interfered, they would have become in-laws of the Zhuang family. If Ning Xiuo had not cried and spouted nonsense in front of that starlet, someone would not have posted it on the internet. Everyone would know that she had embarrassed the Su family. Chapter 2027. But there was no other way. Ning Xiuo was pregnant with the Su family's child, and it had been found out that it was a boy. In this case, it would be terrible if Ning Xiuo hurt her precious grandson. After all, Su Sun, that bastard, was still eyeing Su Yin. The sooner he had an heir, the better it would be for him. No matter what, she had to let Ning Xiuo get the child down first. Thinking of this, Zheng Minjun could only bear with it. She softened her tone and said, "In-law, you can't blame our Su Yin for this. You know our Su Yan's character, and he has always been so close to Xiuo. It's impossible for him to have an affair in marriage. If Ning Shi hadn't secretly seduced our Su Yin, why would Su Yin take it so hard?" She said it so nicely, but I guess she's just playing hard to get. Now that girl publicized everything on the internet for her own benefit. How can our two families face each other in the future? Zheng Minjun was very unhappy when she thought of Ning Shi's cold attitude towards her son. If it wasn't for the Zhuang family, Ning Shi was just an actress. What was she so proud of? Therefore, Zheng Minjun simply put all the blame on Ning Shi. Once Ning Shi was mentioned, Zhuang Lingyu was indeed angered even more, clutching her violently heaving chest. What sin did I commit in my past life to give birth to such an evil creature? Why is she not willing to let off Shui Luo? Not willing to let off our Ning family? Ning Yaohua saw Zhuang Lingyu's emotional state and panicked. "Lingyu, don't get angry. Be careful not to hurt yourself. Look at what that girl has done. How can I not be angry? She's clearly taking revenge. She just doesn't want us to have an easy time." Zhuang Lingyu was crying when Su Yin rushed over. Ning Xiuo's pregnancy was a big blow to him, and Ning Shi's rejection made him even more depressed. In order to escape, he had been using the excuse of going abroad for a business trip. Who knew that such a big thing would happen in the country? After learning that Ning Shi had been misunderstood and scolded by everyone because of Han Zixuan's 2 videos, he was so anxious that he immediately bought a plane ticket to return to the country. In the end, before he could do anything, the moment the plane landed, he saw the live broadcast of the charity banquet. His first reaction was to rush over to look for Ning Shi, but in the end, his family gave him a call, informing him that Ning Shi had a stomachache and was admitted to the hospital, asking him to hurry back. "How is Shui Luo?" Su Yin asked while panting slightly. When Zhuang Lingyu saw Su Yin, she was instantly angered. "Do you still have Shui Luo as your wife in your eyes?" Su Yin clenched his fists and lowered his head. "I'm sorry." Zheng Minjun immediately went up and pushed Su Yin. "Okay, Okay, I know you were fooled by Ningxi. Go to see Shuo Luo and tell her. Don't let her misunderstand. Mom. Su Yin frowned. Zheng Minjun gave Su Yin a look to stop him from continuing. She quickly pushed him into the ward and continued to comfort Zhuang Lingyu and Ning Yaohua. In laws, it's normal for young couples to quarrel. As elders, we shouldn't interfere too much. Otherwise, it might backfire. Besides, they even had a child. How could they divorce? Even if Su Yin was impulsive, there's still me and Hongguang. Anyway, in-laws, don't worry. We will definitely not let Shuo Luo suffer. Chapter 2028. Su Hongguang added, as for Su Yin, he's already made up his mind. The problem you're worried about won't happen. Seeing Zheng Minjun and Su Hongguang's attitude, Zhuang Lingyu's expression turned for the better. After all, the culprit of this matter was Ning Shi, that wicked girl. Zhuang Lingyu sighed. I know how you and Su Yin treat our Shuo Luo, but now that things have come to this, how can our Shuo Luo face others in the future? How can she survive in this circle? Su Hongguang quickly said, that's not a problem. Even if Ningxi and Su Yin dated first, it was something that happened before they got married. Shuo Luo and Su Yin have been married for so long, and they even have a child. As long as Su Yin and Shuo Luo are still in love, everyone will talk about it for a few days at most. I'll talk to Su Yin later and ask him to make a statement that he'll handle this matter well. Don't worry, in-law. Zhuang Lingyu and Ning Yaohua nodded, satisfied. Before Su Yin entered the ward to see Ning Shuo Luo, Su Hongguang called him aside. Father. Su Hongguang looked at his son and sighed. Su Yin, this matter can be big or small. You have to know that for a family's heir, marriage is very important to your image. I know. Su Yin nodded tiredly. Now everyone knows that Shuo Luo is pregnant. Even if it is revealed that Ningxi dated you first, if you divorce Shuo Luo at this time and abandon a pregnant woman, it will definitely have a great impact on the reputation of our Su family. Shuo Luo needs to be comforted. As for Ningxi, to avoid suspicion, it's best not to get too close to her. Su Hongguang reminded him sternly. It was obviously not the right time for a divorce. Su Yan's pupils constricted. He was already too embarrassed to face Shuo Luo's pregnancy. This time, Ningxi was almost forced to a dead end because of him. How could he not care? Su Hongguang patted his son's shoulder and comforted him. Su Yin, father understands your thoughts. To achieve great things, one must know how to be patient. Right now, everything has to wait until Shuo Luo gives birth to the child, understand? Su Yin took a deep breath and suppressed the surging emotions in his heart. Father, I understand. In the ward, Ning Shuo's eyes were red as she leaned against the headboard. Ning Shuo slowly turned around when she heard familiar footsteps. The moment she saw the man, the tears that she had been holding back for a long time fell. Brother Yin, looking at the girl who was pregnant with his flesh and blood, Su Yin awkwardly averted his eyes. After a long silence, he only said 3 words, I'm sorry. She listened to Su Yan's sorry and how he admitted to everything without even trying to defend himself. Ning Shuo clenched her fists tightly under the blanket. She hid the ferocious look in her eyes and looked even more miserable. She smiled bitterly and said, Actually, I knew. I should have known. Sister is so beautiful. She's so outstanding. No matter how hard I try, I can't catch up to her. One day, you'll still return to her side, whether it's in the past or now. I've never thought of fighting with you. If it's possible, I'm willing. I'm willing to help you. Chapter 2029. Ning Shuo sobbed and touched her belly with her trembling fingers. Brother Yin, as long as you're happy, I'll do anything. But Brother Yin, there's nothing I can do. Our child. What about our child? Su Yin sat on the edge of the bed and wiped away the girl's tears with his fingers. His heart was numb and his tone was calm. Don't think too much. It's impossible for me and Xiaoxi. In the past, every time Ning Shuo cried in front of him, He would have infinite strength and the desire to protect her. He would do anything to protect her. Now, her tears were like a deep pool of poison to him. He couldn't breathe and just wanted to get rid of it. Hearing Su Yan's words, Ning Shuilua's face didn't look better at all. Instead, it became paler. Was it just because it was impossible for him and Ning Shi now? What if it was possible for him and Ning Shi? What if she wasn't pregnant? Or after her child was born? Would he immediately kick her away and couldn't wait to marry Ning Shi? Ning Shuilua's fingers, which were on her abdomen, clenched tightly. Her eyes darkened. 2 days later, Su Yan posted on Weibo. The content was through hardships. In the picture, he and Ning Shulua were holding hands. In the past 2 days, Ning Shi's fans and some passersby had been cursing Su Yan and Ning Shulua. However, Ning Shulua was pregnant and she had been married for so long. Now Su Yan had chosen a family. No matter how much they felt for Ning Shi, it was not appropriate for them to meddle in other people's family affairs. The cursing on the internet gradually died down. During this period, Yin Yuyu suddenly posted a statement, announcing her permanent retirement from the entertainment industry. If this news was released alone, it would be enough to cause a sensation in the entertainment industry. However, because of the headline of Han Zixuan being banned, Yin Yuyu's retirement from the entertainment industry only caused a small stir. Soon, everyone's attention was shifted to Han Zixuan. This time, Han Zixuan's image was completely ruined. She was banned from the entire entertainment industry. Even though she was unwilling to give up, even the most inferior entertainment companies were not willing to hire her. Ning Shulua was also completely uncontactable. Central Square of the capital. Han Zixuan wore a big pair of sunglasses and got out of the car. Isu Dong suddenly took the initiative to send her a text message, asking her to meet up. Now, Isu Dong was no longer the general manager of Xianxia Entertainment. He had opened his own entertainment company, but it didn't make much money. It had been operating at a loss. If it weren't for his wife, he would have closed down a long time ago. Han Zixuan was full of contempt for Isu Dong, but at this moment, she was at her wit's end. She had used all her savings since her debut to pay for the breach of contract, and even the property under her name had been taken away by the court. She was used to living a life of luxury. She couldn't live a day without money. But Zheng Anru actually wanted to sell her like a prostitute to those upstarts and coal bosses who she had disdained in the past. How could she endure it? Han Zixuan looked left and right carefully, then quickly walked in the direction of the restaurant not far away. However, just as he got out of the car and took a few steps, his vision suddenly darkened. As soon as she raised her head, she saw 2 fierce-looking burly men blocking her way with ill intent. Han Zixuan's expression suddenly changed, and she subconsciously took a step back. You? Chapter 2030. At this time, the 2 black-faced bodyguards separated and took a step to the sides. A fat, luxuriously dressed woman walked out from behind them. Her gaze swept over Han Zixian's body like a knife. You're Han Zixian? Seeing that the person was Yi Sudong's wife, Jiang Monli, Han Zixuan's first reaction was to turn and run. However, she only managed to take 1 step before a hand grabbed her hair and pulled her back, slamming her hard onto the ground. Bitch, you still want to run? Jiang Monli was very strong. Her fat and wide hand almost tore her scalp. She looked down at the woman who had fallen at her feet. Looking at her gorgeously dressed appearance and her slender waist, she thought of the unsightly scenes in the video and her conversation with Isudong. Those 2 bitches actually called her a disgusting fat woman. Jiang Monli's face was extremely gloomy. Bitch, you like to strip, don't you? I'll let you strip as much as you want. Strip this vixen's clothes for me. Let everyone have a look at her. The bodyguards at the side received the order and immediately rushed forward like wolves. Oh no, go away, go away. What do you want to do? Han Zixuan screamed in panic and covered her clothes. She had always been a goddess that could only be watched from afar and not played with. When had she ever suffered such humiliation? The bodyguard did not have any protective feelings for the fairer sex. Seeing that she resisted, he directly slapped her face. and she was wearing very thin clothes today. The material could not withstand the pull at all. Soon, it was shredded into pieces and hung on her body. It was the peak time of the meal. The square was full of people, and passers-by stopped. Wow, what's going on? The wife is hitting the mistress. The commotion had already attracted a large number of onlookers. When the bodyguard slapped Han Zixuan's sunglasses off, after seeing Han Zixuan's face clearly, there was a burst of gas from the onlookers who were watching the show. Damn, isn't that Han Zixuan? Damn, oh my god, it's really her. It's really Han Zixuan. That fat woman looks like Yi Sudong's wife. Damn, this is too explosive. Hurry up and record the video. Record the video. Help me. Help me call the police. Everyone around was taking photos and recording videos, watching with relish. No one stepped forward. Bystanders loved to watch this kind of drama, where the legal wife tore the mistress apart. It was fine if they didn't step forward and step on it, but why would they be a busybody? Slut, who gave you the guts to play with my man? I'll play you to death today. As Jiang Monli spoke, she suddenly pulled a person out from the corner. How is it? Your little lover is so pitiful. Do you feel sorry for him? Isudong's forehead was drenched in cold sweat. Honey, I'm innocent. Why would I feel sorry for this kind of prostitute who could be taken by anyone? Back then, she drugged me. I didn't do it willingly. I was forced. Honey, you must believe me. Don't you know how I feel about you? How could I fall for such a whore? When Han Zixuan saw Isudong appear, she still had a glimmer of hope. But now, looking at this man's shameless face, she was dumbfounded. Isudong, are you still a man? Why didn't she realize that this man was such a coward who was afraid of his wife? Chapter 2031. Han Zixuan glared at Isudong fiercely. She knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. Mrs. Yi, I was wrong. I know I was wrong. Please forgive me this time. However, Jiang Monli was not so easy to talk to. She got someone to bring a chair to the side and sat down. She let Isudong massage her shoulders while she ordered her men to continue. It wasn't until the police arrived that the farce finally ended. However, this scene had already been spread to every inch of the internet by countless passers-by through photos, videos, and even live broadcasts. Han Zixuan did not know how she escaped from that nightmarish place. In her panic, she rushed into an underground parking lot. A car drove over from the front and braked abruptly, making an ear-piercing sound. The car stopped dangerously in front of Han Zixuan. A man quickly opened the car door and got out to check the situation. He realized that the person who suddenly rushed out was a woman with messy hair and disheveled clothes. After seeing the woman's face, the man was stunned. Han Zixuan saw that the person who got out of the car was someone familiar. She was also stunned. Mr. Su Yin frowned. Han Zixuan looked dazed. Unable to speak, she squatted on the ground and cried. Su Yin saw that Han Zixuan's bare skin was full of scratches from a woman's nails. He seemed to have guessed something, but he did not say it out loud. After all, if Han Zixuan had not exposed her conversation with Shuai Luo, things would not have developed to this stage. The misunderstanding between him and Ning she would not have deepened. Therefore, he did not have a good impression of Han Zixuan. Su Yin frowned. He threw down a jacket and drove away. Han Zixuan was full of resentment. She clutched the jacket in her hand and stared in the direction of the car. Zealing Studio. Wow. Super big gossip. Boss, look, Han Zixuan was stripped naked and beaten by Isudong's wife. It's all over the internet. It's so satisfying. Han Momo hugged her phone and rushed toward Ningxi. She was so excited that her face was red. Ningxi only glanced at it before moving her gaze away, her interest waning. Her gaze once again landed on Gong, Shang's manuscript, and she washed her eyes. Ning Xiuluo and Su Yin are so annoying. How dare they show off their love in public? Han Momo said indignantly. Ningxi looked helpless and doting. Don't read gossip all day long. The Lorraine International Fashion Competition will be held next month. Have you arranged a schedule? I've already arranged it. I won't delay my work. Be good. History is simply too shameless. They followed our trend again and again, and even accused us of plagiarism. This time we must beat them down, Han Momo said angrily. Ningxi saw that Gong Xianxia didn't say anything and looked a little distracted. She put down the manuscript and walked over. Aze, what are you thinking about? Gong Xianxia wanted to say something, but hesitated. Then he shook his head. Boss, it's fine. Ningxi narrowed her eyes and asked tentatively, Does Dai Wei still have your manuscripts? Gong Xianxia bit his lip. I've done some calculations. The manuscripts should be gone, but I'm not entirely sure if I've missed anything. Ningxi knew what Gong Xianxia was worried about. To him, the hardest thing was to surpass himself. Gong Xianxia pursed his lips and looked up at Ningxi. Boss, will you be there then? Ningxi nodded. Of course. How can I not be there at such an important moment? I should be filming in Lorraine then, so I'll definitely be there. Gong Xianxia's uneasy expression gradually disappeared after hearing Ningxi's words. His clear eyes were unusually bright. Boss, I won't let you down. Ningxi chuckled. I believe you. Gong Xianxia then said a little embarrassedly, Boss, can I go to Deer Town and disturb you and Mr. Liu for a few days? Hearing this, Ningxi immediately said readily, Of course. You'll get a lot of inspiration there, won't you? I can't even bear to leave. Gong Xianxia didn't explain and just nodded. Okay. Chapter 2032. Deer Town. What should I do? It's vomiting milk again. Ningxi held the bottle in one hand and the little white tiger in the other. She was flustered. Little Treasure was also anxious. He was about to cry when he saw the little white tiger's uncomfortable appearance. Lu Tingxiao pinched his brows. Let me do it. With that said, he carefully passed the little white tiger over, patted its back, and then changed his position to feed it milk. This time, the little white tiger finally drank the milk successfully. How loving! Ningxi held her chin and looked at her with admiration. Sweetheart, did you also feed Xiaobao like this when he was young? Before Lu Tingxiao could speak, Little Treasure shook his head like a rattle drum and betrayed a certain someone without hesitation. You never fed me milk. Uffed, Ningxi laughed. How do you know? You remember such a small thing? Little Treasure continued to undermine her and said with certainty, This is a normal guess. Lu Tingxiao glanced at his son and coughed softly. He looked helpless but could not refute. All right, he was too busy at that time. Plus, he had no feelings for this son who was not part of his plans. He did not even see him many times, much less feed him milk. Little Treasure looked up at his mother. When heaven is about to bestow a great responsibility on a man, it must first torture his mind, tire his bones and muscles, starve his body, empty his body, and mess up his actions. Fate must have made me go through these trials so that I could meet Mommy. Ningxi's heart was aching when she saw Little Treasure's bright eyes saying these words to her in an unusually serious manner. She was taken aback at first. Then she hugged the little fellow and kissed him. She smiled and said, Baby, why are you so cute? Lu Tingxiao, who had been ridiculed inexplicably, was speechless. Torture his mind, tire his bones and muscles, and starve his body? Did he mistreat him like that? He felt like he had been tricked. At the same time, by the emerald green lake, the little deer drank water leisurely. Birds flew across the lake. Gong Xianxia's back was facing the surface of the lake as he sat cross-legged on the grass. He held a pen and paper in his hand as he looked intently at the family of three not far away. His eyes were filled with a dazzling light. The nimble tip of the pen seemed to have a life of its own as it sketched on the draft paper. Lu Jingli hid far away from Ningxi and his brother. He hugged half a watermelon and squatted next to Gong Xianxia. He used a spoon to dig, and from time to time, he would glance at Gong Xianxia, who was furiously writing. After squatting for an unknown period of time, the number of pink bubbles on the other side was almost suffocating, but Gong Xianxia still didn't move. Lu Jingli really couldn't hold it in anymore. He looked at Gong Xianxia as if he was looking at a god and sighed in amazement. This little brother, you are really very courageous. This was the first time he had seen someone take the initiative to come and eat dog food, and eat it so seriously. When Xianxia heard this, he looked at him suspiciously, not understanding what Lu Jingli meant. "Second young master, what about me?" Lu Jingli patted his shoulder earnestly and said with a pained expression, "You're a single dog. Doesn't it hurt your heart to look at this?" Xianxia tilted his head and looked at Lu Jingli with some surprise. "How can it be? I'm very happy." Lu Jingli was speechless as the corner of his mouth twitched. The thinking of a genius was indeed different from that of a normal person. Chapter 2033. While the entertainment industry was still indulging in extravagance and gossiping about cheating and mistresses, the international economic market had changed, and the economic pages of major magazines and newspapers were full of bloody battles every day. Lu Enterprises and Lu Tingxiao's names appeared as frequently as Ning Shi's in the entertainment pages. And the man who controlled the fate of Huan Nation in everyone's eyes was holding his wife's little hand and trimming her nails attentively. The phone rang. Lu Tingxiao couldn't free his hand, so he asked Ning Shi to answer it for him. Ning Shi answered the phone with her free hand and put the phone to Lu Tingxiao's ear. Lu Tingxiao was polishing his wife's nails with a file while talking to the person on the other end of the phone. "You are flattering me. As a citizen of Huan Nation, this is my duty." Lu Tingxiao said a lot of professional jargon and economic stuff, but Ning Shi couldn't understand a word. She just felt that Lu Tingxiao's tone was a bit strange. "Use the other hand," Lu Tingxiao reminded her. Oh. Ning Shi immediately used the other hand to answer the phone and handed it to Lu Tingxiao to continue trimming. She didn't know what the person on the other end of the phone said, but Lu Tingxiao's face suddenly softened and he answered in a cello-like hoarse voice, "My wife." When Lu Tingxiao finished the phone call, Ning Shi's nails had been trimmed like a work of art. "Sweetheart, who was on the phone just now?" "Ning," she asked casually. Lu Tingxiao replied with a name. "Damn it, Ning," she almost spat out blood. "Then why aren't you concentrating?" He was calling that man while trimming her claws. She suddenly felt that her claws were sinful. That man actually called her in the middle of the night, which showed that the situation was really tricky this time. But it was also a good thing. At least Lu Tingxiao was not alone, but the whole country. "I'm very focused." The man held the girl's tender fingers and kissed them gently. Ning, she was speechless. Was he concentrating on trimming her claws? Ning Shi's feet were in the air. She was picked up by the waist and carried from the living room upstairs to the bedroom. Xiao Bao was sleeping in the next room. "Do you need to get up early tomorrow?" The man gently placed the girl on the soft bedding. At the same time, his slender fingers nimbly undid the small and exquisite plum-shaped buttons on her cheongsam. A corner of the loose collar faintly revealed a fair and delicate collarbone, causing the man's gaze to suddenly turn deep. In the next second, a scorching tongue had already covered the warm, jade-like skin. Ning Shi's body trembled slightly. "Well, I don't have work tomorrow, but I have an appointment with Jiang Mai. I'm going to help him with his cross-dressing." The man responded, indicating that he understood. In the end, the sky outside the window was turning white, and the chirping of birds could be heard. In the bedroom, Ning, she was dizzy. Every strand of her hair was soaked. She had no strength in her body, but the man in front of her still didn't know fatigue. When Ning Shi woke up again, it was almost noon, not to mention morning. It was already the next evening, and the sky was almost dark. Ning Shi scratched her head and took out her phone in a hurry. Sure enough, her phone was about to explode from Jiang Mai's continuous calls. Chapter 2034. Ning Shi changed her clothes and went downstairs weakly. From afar, he could see Xiao Bao taking care of the little white tiger in the courtyard. Meanwhile, a certain someone was holding a newspaper in his hand. He was dressed in home clothes and was sitting on a rattan chair under a flower rack with his head propped up. Ning Shi ran up to him and glared at him angrily. Lu Tingxiao's Adam's apple moved slightly when he saw the fiery look in his little wife's eyes. He put down the newspaper in his hand and pulled her to sit on his lap. His large palm gently massaged her sore waist. "What's wrong? Press up a little." "Ning," she said with a dark face. "Why did you ask? I told you I had something to do today." Lu Tingxiao said, "I only did it once." Looking at his innocent face, Ning, she was furious. "Then did I feed the dogs the other times?" Lu Tingxiao smiled. "It was Madam's request. Have you forgotten? Damn it. She really did ask for it." The problem was, how could she resist him when he took the initiative to seduce her? She finally understood why there were so many incapable rulers in history who were blinded by lust. Anyway, it was already night when Ning she went to find Jiangmai. Ning she used all her strength to appease this little ancestor. "Don't waste time. Go and change." Looking at Ning Shi's eager look, Jiangmai was even angrier. This guy was so eager to see him in women's clothes, but he was late for the whole day and didn't wake up until the afternoon. He could easily figure out what he had been up to last night. Ning she waited in the living room anxiously. Jiangmai dawdled for more than half an hour before the bedroom door finally opened. "Is it done?" Ning she turned her head anxiously. The next second, Ning she covered her eyes and rolled miserably on the sofa. "Fuck! My fucking eyes!" Seeing Ning Shi's reaction, Jiangmai was furious. He rushed over in his high heels. "Ning Xiaoxi, what do you mean by this?" Jiangmai was wearing a bright red dress and 12-centimeter high heels. He had wavy blonde hair, smoky makeup, and red lips. That scene was simply Ning she clutched her chest. "Even if I'm late, you can't take revenge on me like this." Jiangmai furrowed his brows. "Is it bad for me to be like this?" But I followed Carl's image completely. Ning she opened her eyes with difficulty and looked at Jiangmai. The actor who played the original Carl was smaller than you, and he didn't look as sharp as you. Of course, it's okay to dress like this, but it's shocking to see you imitate him like this. Then what do you think we should do? Soon, they would go to Lorraine to shoot scenes. His cross-dressing scenes were about to start. Even though he had read the script so many times, the role this time was too challenging. He was really not confident. When the time came, there would be a professional to fix his makeup. But before that, he had to be prepared, so he asked Ningxi to come over to consult. Originally, Lei Ming said that he would arrange a professional stylist for him, but he firmly refused. She pinched her eyebrows. "All right, change your clothes, and I'll help you redo your makeup. You're wasting God's gift recklessly. Can you do it?" Jiangmai looked at her worriedly. "Trust my taste, okay? I'm just afraid that you'll fall in love with yourself later." Jiangmai. Chapter 2035. She had long, straight black hair, a tight black sequin skirt, a flight jacket, and a pair of handsome Martin boots. She didn't deliberately use feminine makeup. She just slightly deepened her eyeliner and adjusted her lip color. Although she was dressed as a woman, she retained Jiang Mai's own characteristics, which were wild and unruly. When Jiang Mai opened his eyes, he saw himself like this. It was totally not as unacceptable as he had imagined. She held her chin and looked at the beauty in front of her with sparkling eyes. Oh, Jiang Mai, even if you asked me to climb a mountain of swords or plunge into a pot of boiling oil, I'd be willing." Jiang Mai was speechless. She was talking to him in a flirting tone. "Shut up. You look so cute when you say shut up." Ning Xiaoxi. Fortunately, he was relieved after hearing Ning Shi's words. His masochism was getting worse and worse. She rolled her eyes. "What do you think? Shall we go and check the result?" Jiang Mai looked at her with vigilance, as if she was up to no good. "How are you going to test it? Go to a bar. If a man strikes up a conversation with you, it means you have succeeded." "No, thank you. I can tell from the way you look at me that I'm successful enough." Jiang Mai refused resolutely. She expressed her regret. Lorraine, China. Lorraine International Fashion Week was around the corner. She had rushed there in advance because she had to shoot The Killer. A few days later, Zeiling's team also flew to this fashion city to prepare for the important battle in the coming week. Lorraine was famous for its beauty and fashion. This city was the holy land for women all over the world who pursued fashion. It was also the paradise and cradle of all excellent designers. The history of fashion was the history of Lorraine. Up to now, Lorraine's fashion style still had a great influence on top designers in various countries. The Lorraine Fashion Week had a supreme position in the fashion world. It determined the fashion trends of the year and the following year. Every year, designers from all over the world would present nearly 100 fashion shows in 7 days to convey the latest trends to the global fashionistas. Nowadays, History, one of the most representative brands of Chinese style, became famous because of its brilliance on the stage of Lorraine Fashion Week. It became the representative of Chinese style in the international fashion circle and was highly respected by domestic fashion people. History had also participated last year. Although it wasn't as stunning as the first time, its performance was still remarkable. For Zhe Ling, this was her first appearance on the international stage. This time in Lorraine, most of the scenes were about Jiangmai. Ningxi's schedule in Lorraine was very relaxed. After finishing the filming for the day, he rushed to the airport to pick them up. From afar, he saw Xianxia, Qiao Weilan, and Han Momo. "Boss, here!" Han Momo waved her hand in the crowd and rushed to Ningxi happily. Xianxia lagged a few steps behind, holding a suitcase in his hand. He stared blankly at the sky above Luoyang City, a little out of sorts. Luoyang City. This was the city that had given him endless hope and vitality and had once pushed him into the abyss. He had finally set foot on this land. He had finally returned to this place. "Say, let's go." A warm voice sounded. "Yes." Xianxia looked at the person beside him. His wandering thoughts that were floating in mid-air slowly retracted, transforming into infinite power. This time, he was no longer alone. Chapter 2036. Boss, the plain food is terrible. I'm so hungry. Han Momo's eyes were filled with tears. Ningxi rubbed the little girl's hair. "Let's go. I'll take you to eat something delicious first." After putting the luggage in the car, Ningxi drove the three of them to a famous local Michelin restaurant. "Wow, 3 Michelin stars. Will be very expensive?" Ningxi laughed. "Don't worry. You can't eat your boss." The four of them found a quiet seat by the window and sat down. Han Momo began to order food attentively, while Qiao Weilan began to report to Ningxi. Xianxia looked at a corner not far from the window and suddenly said, "That used to be my seat." Ningxi looked in the direction of Xianxia's gaze and saw a black beggar lying on his back, snoring loudly. Ningxi froze for a moment and then smiled. What a coincidence! It's true. It seemed to be the place where she met Xianxia for the first time. There was a history store less than 300 meters away from there. That day, after buying clothes at History, she bumped into Xianxia, who was looking for trouble on the street. "What? Is that the place where you found our director Gong?" Han Momo was immediately interested and began to ask about the details of Ningxi and Xia's encounter. Qiao Weilan also looked over with interest. "Yes, it's been too long. I didn't remember it just now." The four of them were talking happily. Just then, the door of the restaurant opened, and a group of 7 or 8 people came in one after another. The leader was a man in his 30s with a sleek face and a short stature. The person behind him was wearing a high-end Armani suit and a Patek Philippe wristband worth millions. It turned out to be a big acquaintance. "Damn, isn't that Dai Wei? Enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road. How could he meet them?" Han Momo said excitedly. That group was the design team of History. The leader was Lu Minghui, Dai Wei's assistant and the deputy design director of History. In Han Momo's words, he was Dai Wei's henchman. Dai Wei and the others were talking and didn't notice their direction. Then they sat down in a semi-enclosed box not far from them. Although they couldn't see the other party's words were clearly heard by Ningxi and the others. "Boss's work this time is too amazing. It'll definitely make those foreigners' eyes pop out," one of them said excitedly. "Boss is still the best. You can actually think of such a brilliant idea. This idea will definitely be popular." The one who spoke was Lu Mingwei. The workmanship and skills are also top-notch. It would take at least a year and a half to produce it. Boss must have been preparing since a long time ago. He actually hid it from us and didn't tell anyone. Listening to the exaggerated compliments, Han Momo curled her lips disdainfully and said, "You really know how to brag. Why don't they go to heaven?" Ningxi smiled and said nothing. Gong Xianxia was no longer as excited to see Dai Wei again. However, as he listened to the words that came from the other side, his brows furrowed imperceptibly. After going back, he compared all of Dai Wei's published works against his stolen design manuscripts to make sure he didn't miss anything. He knew that in addition to the design team on the surface, Dai Wei also had a group of people in private. There were quite a few masters among them. He didn't know what Dai Wei did to make them willing to work for him. Otherwise, Dai Wei wouldn't have lasted until now. The works that were exhibited this time were probably made by those people. Chapter 2037. 2 days later, Lorraine Fashion Week officially kicked off. The scene was full of stars and famous designers. This was not only the most anticipated moment for fashion lovers and supermodels, but also the best opportunity for new designers to show their talents and enter the international fashion circle. At this time, the entertainment section of the domestic media was already flooded with reports about the show. If it wasn't about a certain celebrity receiving an invitation, then it was about a certain celebrity stunning the audience on the red carpet. On the social media accounts of many celebrities and even internet celebrities, they all posted pictures of themselves in fancy clothes going to the show. In fact, as a top international fashion show, Lorraine Fashion Week could only be entered with an invitation from a brand or an investor, even if it was a first-rate superstar. During the Fashion Week, 40% of the invitations would be sent to the top fashion media from all over the world, 30% to well-known fashion buyers, 10% to guests invited by the brand, 10% to top clients, and 10% to spare. In other words, only 10% of the celebrities in the entertainment industry were invited, and most of them weren't qualified to sit in the front row. The arrangement of each row showed the status of the guests in the fashion industry. Those who could sit in the front row were all distinguished VIPs. Those second and third-rate internet celebrities who posted pictures online seemed to have been invited, but in fact, these people did not even have a seat. They had all come at their own expense to walk the red carpet and act cool to deceive passers-by who did not know what was going on. The official venue was set at the Grand Palace of Lorraine. The crystal chandeliers hanging above the palace resembled a galaxy in the night sky. The simple and luxurious hall had been transformed into a long catwalk, and on both sides of the catwalk were seats for the guests. All the invited celebrities racked their brains to wear gorgeous gowns and elegantly walk on the red carpet, giving the cameraman the most perfect view. Then, they took their seats one by one. In the past, the International Fashion Week wasn't open to the public. However, with the popularization of live broadcasts, ordinary people could now watch the grand event from their homes. A popular Chinese video website had won the right to broadcast the event. Everyone enthusiastically scrolled through the screen, exclaiming and commenting on the celebrities' outfits. Oh, I saw my idol, Orlando. My idol is so handsome. The flowery shirt is so coquettish. Oh my God, what is Su Jiao wearing? Did she wear the flowery quilt from her own house? That's too shocking. He's going all out for the sake of attracting attention. Why do I seem to see Ning Shueluo? Didn't she quit the entertainment industry a long time ago? He actually sat in the first row. In the entire Chinese entertainment industry, only Song Lin has the right to sit in the first row, and that's because she's the spokesperson of the Chinese region. However, Song Lin is already semi-retired. She didn't even show up this time. Ningxi's status is also good, but Ningxi doesn't seem to have any endorsement deals with big brands, so she can't get an invitation. You probably don't know about this. Other than the guests, the first row is filled with industry insiders. Although Ning Shueluo isn't a celebrity in the entertainment industry, she is the founder of history. No wonder. Under the envious gazes of the Chinese female stars sitting at the back, Ning Shihua sat down in the first row in a loose history dress and luxurious stone jewelry. So what if I quit the entertainment circle? She had always disdained that circle of people who were always inferior in the eyes of the celebrities. Chapter 2038. Some domestic media reporters immediately greeted him enthusiastically and asked a question. Ms. Ning, this is the third time history has represented China on the stage of International Fashion Week. What do you have to say about this? Ning Shuo put on a generous smile on her face. I'm honored to be recognized by so many professionals. I'm also honored to represent China on the world stage and show the beauty of China to the world. Ning Shuo's answer immediately received a lot of praise from many patriots. Ning Shuo's character aside, she's indeed quite capable. She's also contributing to the promotion of Chinese culture. Meanwhile, Dai Wei also received a lot of praise from the media. Mr. Dai, 2 years ago, history's Chinese design shocked the world and set off a wave of Chinese style in the international fashion industry. Last year's performance was slightly mediocre. I wonder if history will surprise us again in this show. Dai Wei, who was asked by foreign reporters, had a proud look on his face. We heard that the performance was slightly mediocre last year. His face slightly stiffened. However, he quickly said confidently, this work is the result of 2 years of hard work. I believe it won't disappoint you. At this time, many reporters suddenly headed in the direction of the door. At the same time, the live broadcast began to crazily chat. Brother Shi is here. Compared to the female celebrities who were competing with each other tonight, Ning she was wearing a simple champagne-colored 2-piece suit and a 1-piece skirt. Other than the embroidery embellishments on the skirt and collar, there was no extra decoration. It was clean and neat, which was very different from what the media had expected. In the International Fashion Week, the invited guests were all invited to watch the shows. But now, more and more people were treating the shows as a show, a vanity fair to gain attention and fame, especially in China, where the situation was even more serious. Ning Shi's simple and decent outfit, which was not too grand, won the favor of many foreign media and industry insiders. Moreover, the news of Ning Shi's participation in The Assassin gave Ning Shi a lot of exposure internationally. At this time, many foreign reporters came up to interview her, breaking the cold treatment of Chinese celebrities. The fans in the live broadcast were also excited when they saw this, seeing that Ning Shi was in the limelight. Ning Shuo's face immediately turned gloomy. However, when he saw Ning Shi walking towards the back, his brows relaxed again. Although Ning Shi had a lot of endorsements, she didn't endorse any clothing brand, so it was impossible for her to get invitations from big-name clothing brands. Anonymous invitations from magazines and media would be very far behind, and she might not even have a seat. Ning Shuo sat in the first row calmly. She glanced at Ning Shi, who walked straight to the last row with a mocking gaze. So what if he reached the top of the entertainment circle? In this circle, he was still nothing. Ning Shuo was in a good mood chatting with a few industry insiders around her, but she was stunned the next second. After Ning Shi greeted Qin Shuang in the last row and said a few words, she got up and walked in the direction of the first row and then sat down in one of the empty seats. Chapter 2039. Ning Shuo's expression turned sour, but it soon turned into mockery and disdain. He didn't know what method that slut used to sit here. She was the so-called top female star in the Chinese entertainment industry after all. She still had to do this. However, everyone knew that she was obviously not qualified, but she still forced herself to be there. She was just trying to fool the ignorant fans. On the stage, the host announced the official opening of the Fashion Week. Everyone's attention was focused on the runway. All the big brands showed up one after another, bringing their spring and summer collections for the next season. It was an unparalleled visual feast for the eyes. The people in the live broadcast were amazed. At the same time, They were all looking forward to the appearance of the Chinese brands. When is our history going to be on? I'm looking forward to it. I saw the itinerary. It's today. There's also Owen, which is also from China. Owen is not bad, but it doesn't have the characteristics of our country. I still prefer history. I heard that Ling is also qualified to enter this time. The Ling who has been following history? Every year, brands from various countries would come to participate in the Fashion Week. They had a certain influence in their country and could represent the characteristics of their country. The designers also had to reach the top comprehensive standards in their country. After the qualification review by the Fashion Week jury, they would finally be able to receive an official invitation. This time, there were only 3 Chinese brands that passed the review. One of them was Owen under Chu Guanyang, who was known as the top Chinese designer in China. Another was History, and the last one was Ling. Chu Guanyang was the first Chinese designer to enter the attention of the international fashion circle, but his style had always been international. History was the first Chinese brand to shine in the international fashion circle. In the beginning, Ling still had a chance to compete with History. However, after a year of hiding, it had almost disappeared from the domestic market, let alone the international market. It was only after the recent 2 series of new products were well received that it gradually recovered. However, it was inevitable that it would be treated as a dispensable accompaniment, and even as a brand that followed History. It was completely submerged in the glory of History. This was how the industry was. Everyone only remembered the first place. All the Chinese fashion lovers who were watching the live broadcast were eagerly waiting for their own brands to appear. Even the industry insiders have been paying more and more attention to the Chinese style in recent years. After Chu Guanyang's runway show ended, the name History finally appeared on the big screen. Countless Hua Guofeng followers held their breaths as they looked at the stage. Even the godfather of fashion, Ada, sat up straight and focused on the stage. Accompanied by the melodious sound of an ancient zither, models in custom-made historical suits appeared one after another. When the models walked out one by one, the crowd burst into exclamations. Everyone's eyes lit up because it was simply too beautiful. The concept of Zen in traditional Chinese culture was vividly reflected. Every piece of clothing exuded a strong Chinese charm. Every line and every stitch of embroidery embodies the subtle, gentle, and majestic Chinese culture. What was most valuable was that these rainbow-colored feather garments allowed the world to see traditional handicrafts such as silk, Su embroidery, and Panjin embroidery, which contained ancient China's wisdom. Chapter 2040. Oh my God, this is so beautiful. Is this the legendary Chinese craftsmanship? If I'm not mistaken, these sets of clothes are made using silk embroidery from the Tang Dynasty. The craftsmanship is very complicated. Just a few feet would take months. This is so special. What a magical Chinese culture. The industry insiders, and even the designers who were biased against the Chinese style could not help but be amazed by the exquisite Nikhang feather garments on the models. At that moment, the Huan Nation fans in the live streaming channel were even more excited and filled with pride. Wow, beautiful, 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 beautiful. Our country's culture is amazing. This is great. History did not let us down. Tremble. This is the traditional culture of our Huan Nation. I think I'm going to become a fan of Ning Shueluo. Amidst the overwhelming praise, no one noticed that in a certain corner of the dim light, a delicate and handsome young man's face was deathly pale, and his trembling lips were almost bleeding from his biting. Neon, clothing, feather, clothing, his Nikhang feather garment. It took him half a year to complete the design and another 2 years to learn the skills from the old craftsman. Finally, he made the rainbow feather garment with his own hands. Dai Wei had lied to him about the Nikhang feather garment that had been destroyed in a fire in the sample room. Now, it had appeared on the runway of Lorraine International Fashion Week, right in front of him. It was not the joy of regaining something he had lost, but anger and hatred. It was the heart-wrenching pain of having one's own flesh and blood dug out by someone else. Gong Xiang's eyes were bloodshot, and the veins on his forehead were popping. His chest was rising and falling more violently. His handsome face was almost hideous, and it was as if all the blood in his body was flowing in reverse. Not far away, Xianxia had a bad feeling the moment history's work appeared. Her first reaction was to look at Gong Xiang's reaction. Sure enough, Gong Xiang's face was getting uglier and uglier. The young man looked like he was on the verge of breaking down. Xianxia had never seen Gong Xiang so agitated before. Shit! Xianxia frowned when she saw this. It seemed that Dai Wei's so-called 2 years of painstaking work was actually Gong Xiang's design. It wasn't just the blueprints. All of these ready-made clothes might have been personally made by Gong Xiang. She remembered that she had heard Gong Xiang say more than once that the most perfect work of his life had been destroyed in an accidental fire. That set of clothes was called Rainbow Feather Robe. Could it be? History's work once again stunned the world, and the domestic and foreign media swarmed to interview the chief designer, Dai Wei. A foreign reporter, Director Dai, your work this time is really amazing. Where did your inspiration come from? Dai Wei replied proudly with a smile on his face. Of course, it's from the 5,000 years of Chinese culture. One of the Huan Nation reporters said excitedly, Well said, Director Dai. May I know what ancient designs are used in these clothes? I heard that they were all handmade by you. Is that true? Dai Wei nodded and said, I used silk, Su embroidery, and Panjin embroidery techniques. I completed the design alone, but the production was done by me and my team. They also put in a lot of effort. Director Dai, you're too humble. As everyone knows, design is the soul of clothing. Also, Mr. Dai, your design this time is even more outstanding than the full spring garden from 2 years ago. May I know the name of your series theme this time? The reporter asked. Dai Wei replied, Rainbow Feather Robe. Chapter 2041. The moment she heard those words, Xiaxia's pupils constricted and a bone-piercing chill appeared in her eyes. It really was the rainbow feather raiment. Dai Wei was so arrogant that he did not even change a single word. No wonder Gong Xiang had such an expression. Xianxia looked at the young man, who was like a burning flame in the darkness, and pondered for a moment. She picked up her phone, composed a message, and pressed the send button. Gong Xiang felt his phone vibrate and forced himself to unlock it. His vision was blurry as he opened the message. The moment he saw the message, the anger that was rampaging through his body and almost made him dizzy instantly calmed down like a pacified beast. The crowd was filled with praises, and the live stream was still flooding the screen. Dai Wei, who was surrounded by the media, was still talking about his journey. In the corner, a young man slowly took off the mask on his face and stood up. He stood straight in the crowd and said word by word, The rainbow feather raiment is my design. It's a work of my own hands. This voice was like a bucket of cold water being poured into a burning flame. The lively atmosphere suddenly became so silent that a pin drop could be heard. Everyone's gaze instantly shifted from Dai Wei to the young man with the cold gaze. The young man looked delicate and handsome, but his face was deathly pale without a trace of blood. The fire in his eyes seemed to be able to burn the entire palace down. Dai Wei was enjoying the pleasure of gaining fame and benefits when he suddenly heard this nightmarish voice. It was as if a bolt of lightning had struck him from the top of his head. When he turned around stiffly and saw the young man's face, he was instantly stunned. Gong Xiang. He actually saw Gong Xiang. Impossible. How could it be Gong Xiang? This was absolutely impossible. He was clearly begging on the Avenue Lorraine, and he should have died in some dark alleyway like a lunatic. How could he appear at the Lorraine International Fashion Week fully dressed? Everyone's gaze was on Gong Xiang and did not notice the strange expression that flashed across Dai Wei's face. The guests from the media looked at each other in confusion. It took them a long time to regain their senses. A reporter asked with an unfriendly expression, May I ask who you are, sir? Gong Xiang was the worst at communicating with people. Even attending such an occasion, he had to wear a mask and wrap himself up tightly to feel safe, much less speak under so many eyes. The young man's palms were drenched in sweat until he noticed a pair of eyes shining on him from the crowd. Xianxia's chief designer, X. His Chinese name is Xianxia. The young man replied clearly. The moment the young man's voice fell, there was another burst of discussion at the scene. Xianxia's chief designer? Ah, so he's Xianxia's legendary designer, ZX. But what did he mean by what he said just now? He actually said that the rainbow feather raiment was designed by him, and that he had personally completed it? Wasn't this a fantasy? How could history's work be done by Xianxia's designers? Dai Wei stared at the young man he had not seen for 2 years. Not only did the young man not show any signs of being down and out, but he was also dressed appropriately. Even his usual cowardice in front of others was gone, so much so that he almost did not recognize him at first glance. Chapter 2042. What was even more unexpected was that Xianxia was Xianxia's chief designer. So the person who had been going against him was this kid. No wonder Xianxia's design style was so similar to Xianxia's. It really was him. He was really lucky. Dai Wei's eyes were filled with viciousness. The initial shock and panic gradually turned into disdain and fearlessness. Haha, Zay. You're still as naive as ever after 2 years. Do you think that you can defeat me with just Xianxia? You think everyone will believe you just because you say you designed the rainbow feather raiment? Everything was just as Dai Wei had predicted. Not only did the audience look at Xianxia strangely, but the fans in the Chinese livestream channel were even more vulgar. Damn, where did this guy come from? Is he crazy from wanting to be famous? It's fine if he plagiarizes history. But now he's saying he designed and made the clothes himself? Shameless. If it wasn't for history letting the world know about Hua Nation, Xianxia wouldn't have the chance to be invited to International Fashion Week. You've lost all your face overseas. Get out of Fashion Week. Don't embarrass yourself anymore. Amidst the scolding, some rational netizens raised their suspicions. Is there something you're not telling me? Xianxia's designer wouldn't say such baseless things on an occasion like today if he had any brains, right? Actually, Xianxia's clothes are quite nice. Being invited to Lorraine Fashion Week is an international recognition of Xianxia. There's really no need to do such a thing, is there? Similar comments were quickly suppressed by history supporters. Do you think a designer who only knows how to copy has a brain? He's an idiot, and he thinks we're idiots too. He hasn't designed anything in a year, okay? His recent works are all copying histories. Even the design that won the Golden Apex was a copy of histories. Now that he's had a taste of success, he wants a foot after getting an inch. He might as well say that history stole his work. How can there be such a shameless person? At that moment, there was a lot of discussion going on. Everyone looked at Xianxia strangely. A reporter asked, Mr. Gong, just now you said that the rainbow feather robe was designed by you. What do you mean by that? Xianxia. The literal meaning is that the nick-hang and feather raiment is mine. Dai Wei stole my work. Not only the nick-hang and feather raiment, full spring garden is also my design. What did you say? The reporter was dumbfounded. 2 years ago, Dai Wei stunned the international fashion circle with spring garden was also designed by him. Water hibiscus, forest, late autumn. Xianxia listed more than 10 theme series in history in one breath, as well as the specific release date of each series. Finally, he said, these are all design drafts that Dai Wei stole from me. In the corner, Dai Wei almost laughed out loud when he heard Xianxia's words. His expression was full of sympathy and regret, as if he was looking at a pitiful person who knew he was going to die, but was still struggling on his deathbed. Heh, he knew that this idiot was nothing to be afraid of. He didn't even need to do anything. He could play himself to death. Today, the things that this Zephyr designer named Xianxia had said were simply too shocking. The leading figure of Chinese style, the genius designer Dai Wei, who even the godfather of fashion personally praised, had actually stolen all of his classic works. You're tuning in to the Eternal Immortal Ballad YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.